What's up and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. We're back. The Siege Double Shot taking on day 2 of Qual 1, the road to SI. I am the Reverend Whiskey Glitter, and with me on the desk, as always, my partner and co-host, Mr. Whiskey Run. What's up, Whiskey?
That's right. Welcome back, everyone, to day 2. This is it for the SI Open Qualifier LCQ here in North America. This is the last opportunity for one of these teams to qualify today. Otherwise, they're going to have to come back in 2 weeks and give it a shot again. We'll go ahead and pull up the bracket just so you can see where we're at. There are 2 matches left. Yesterday, we made it all the way through the bracket to see, man, that SOS team minus Packer make it all the way to the qualification spot. So we need to finish out the top half of the bracket. First, 2012 Miami Heat taking on Nadeshot. That's the game that is starting in 3 minutes from now. And Envy waiting to see who is the winner of this match. And that 2012 Miami Heat team, that's the core of the E6 Akron University team with a twist. And we'll check that out later. Taking on Nadeshot Help, or LFO from the from Pro League, the other team that's in relegation along with Envy.
Man, we got all kinds of big names in this one promises to deliver. On the first side of it, 2012 Miami Heat, Aimkey, Bless, Schmink, Silo, and Twist. And then, of course, on the other side of it, our relegation potential team, Fen Center, Epic, Bino, and Eddie. Run, we've seen this matchup before, maybe not necessarily in this iteration, but these folks have played. This is going to be good.
Yeah, and we said Twist playing on this 2012 Miami Heat team was previously on Envy. So if that team is successful, they're going to fight it out versus his old team. But they have to get through LFO first, and that is going to be a literal epic battle. And, man, the place that we're doing it is wild, honestly, when you take a look at the map bands.
Well, here's what I love, Run. I hate seeing the Fortress went down. Probably not going to be able to see it this qual, but I mean, fingers crossed, of course. But you see a couple of them getting taken down pretty early. But at the end of it, Lair, which seems to be kind of one of those stopping points for good teams lately, is now they've figured it out. Now they've got their accepted strap. So we've even got some of those defaults already starting to occur. Run, I love Lair. And between two teams that know how to slug it out, oh man, cinema incoming.
I mean, when we talk about Lair statistics real quick, LFO's only win in NAL Stage 2 was versus Cruelty on Lair. All right, this is a map that they can actually win. It's the only one that they did find a way to win. And Akron certainly has had some success on Lair. They won that map in E6 in Swiss stage, one of their big wins. So this is a map where we're going to see, I think, some great battle going on. And guess what, my friend? It's time.
Okay, you called it. We're in. It's time. It's Lair, and it's about to get crazy. Run, I've been loving Lair for a couple of different reasons. One of them is it just has so many layers to it. Doesn't matter if you're attacking or defending. There's just some things that you have to do, right? If you're claiming that 2F as your home, where you're locking in your trench warfare activity, you can almost guarantee that we're going to have some vertical from underneath. Every bit of Pro League that we watched Lair, it was just the accepted part. You have to get a buck down there, and you have to put pressure above. But what else does that mean? That means there's a chance for isolations. That means if the buddy system isn't in play, then potentially we're seeing somebody come up on a lurk roll and come up huge.
I mean, fantastic point. The hard part is, how do you defend against that? What's the way that you try and manage the vertical? How much are we going to see them spread out across this map to try and manage all of those places? One of the things about Lair, huge map, plenty of opportunity, plenty of spaces for interactions, but a couple of defined strats that have really started to take shape. And the interesting one, I mean, you can hear the gun going off like crazy. Silo bringing out the Tachanka, and gotta say, this is a play that it seems like it is gaining momentum. You know, when used in conjunction with the other area denial ops, with Twist bringing out the smoke. I'm honestly loving this setup so far. Miami Heat, that 2012 chosen specifically. Why? LeBron James' first NBA championship and MVP. Seems fitting that that's the name for AIMP's team.
That is true. It does feel like that. Feels like they were going for something and they hit the mark, Ren. You know, so yeah, getting the Tachanka set up here, got that double area denial. Run, they're also opening up like big parts of the wall. Something we saw similar yesterday to or on Bank, where they're just gonna sit the Tachanka back, open the walls up in a big way, and then just rest on the fire to make sure that you've got enough space to keep them out of sight, denied. So you know what? Kind of starting to like it. Maybe a little bit. It's better watching Tachanka play when there's a higher caliber player behind that gun that can land those shots, that can make up for the incredible speed difference that most operators will bring to the table against Tachanka.
Take a look at the way this one's set up. Look at this, through the window to take a shot on that opside door. Honestly, I love that play because it really allows, you know, the Blackbeard to get some visual in there, push the defense back. That's some tech right there that we have not seen a lot of the I would say the lower level teams play it out, but was about to highlight the fact that Blackbeard in center was playing on that app, a known shield, you know, expert really, but unfortunately goes down. I mean, that's the Cast a Curse in action.
Yep, it'll catch you slipping. That's going to be 2 down, one on each side of it. The casualties of round number 1 have already rang out, and part of that area denial already done. The good part, we still have smoke in hand. He still has 3 canisters, and we're starting to get to the bottom end of the timer. So as we start to get under that minute mark, under that 60-second mark, those smokes will really start to become a factor. Schmink goes down, man advantage now over to Nadeshot in a big way as both Epic and Fens are going to come up with kills. Those aforementioned smoke canisters going to start going down, but
no.
It's not going to be enough. Azami's going to breathe it in, find her life forfeit. Fens is going to come up on the double at the end, triple on the round. Just a welcome to the last chance qualifier type of first round.
Wow, the smoke really doing significant damage to Bless playing on the Azami. That was not quite a TK, but for sure that was a big piece of it. That certainly enabled Nadeshot to, you know what, get a little bit of that that extra space in lobby. So even though they lose they lose center's Blackbeard early in that matchup, they had all of the other pieces in place to take down the Heat and then 1 attacking round. And, you know, when we talk about side statistics, I know Jesse loves to say it's, you know, it's not really the statistics that mean all of the difference, that aren't going to set the pace for the round. It's that specific teams that are playing it out. And this feels like it could definitely be an attacker-sided Lair with 2 teams that are very good.
Yeah, 100% can see that. Now we take it down to the basement, though, and that's going to be kind of a bigger test, right? We've seen this played out several different ways. One of my favorite iterations is the leave 1 down in sight, right? Leave your area denial down in sight and just claim vertical. Kind of similar to how you'll see that played out on Nighthaven when you just have a huge investment into that verticality. But this site offers both, right? You can, at the expense of losing verticality, you can 100% just extend outside of the site as well. Guard yourself from those potential fuse charges that ultimately can come through. So not going to be the case. They don't bring the fuse this time. They do make sure that the Ram's on board, though. So it's a quick entry in, and they're going to go top down, sir.
One of the other things we're going to talk about early on in the setup is that there was 4 teams with full 5 stacks of Liquipedia notable players. And we get to see 3 of them. The other team that made it was, those guys pulled it off, right? So the top 4 of the top teams there, all Liquipedia notable. I think that's part of the reason that they've made it this far. This is all very good talent that is in the T2 arena, trying to find their way into the SI Open qualifiers. For me, you take a look at this Miami Heat team, right? It's a collection of players from some great teams. Twist coming in at the core of that Akron roster, but Schmink from the Shube side, and then Bless jumping in. They don't have a lot of time together specifically. I think that gives a little bit of a boost there to the LFO org. So, and speaking of, I mean, looking for LFO, looking for an org, Let's get these guys some representation.
All right, are you saying Siege Double Shot needs to step in, run, and pick these guys up? Nadeshot might be the play here.
Honestly, they're too damn good. They are too damn good. These guys are pro league for a reason, and Miami Heat's gonna have to put up some numbers to try to pull this off. They're set up a little bit spread out across the board so far, and this time they are not gonna lose the opening pick. It's gonna be Silo that goes down, but he's playing the mute. He's already got his utility in play, and this first interaction upstairs happening with the Monty or the Blitz.
Wow.
Aimkey wins that. No way.
That's right. Does get traded out as Fens is able to take it. So with 60 left, they claim that man advantage by 2. Aimkey relegated to his cams. Mute gone. And, of course, the spearhead on the side of Nadeshot has been taken out. Now, it's a regress up top here. Twist is looking to make a statement and hold on to that vertical, but nobody really in place to give him any sort of damage just yet. Any sort of contest, as they've claimed that back hatch area. Now can get started working that oppressive pressure.
Man, 30 seconds left. This is almost no time. It's about to get crazy. You already seeing the Fenrir's come out, but there's still a lot of these Nadeshot players upstairs. They're going to have to make the drop in 20-second meta incoming.
Looking towards the long angle. Oh, man, and he's going to find it. Epic takes Twist off the board, and now that main advantage has been claimed by 2. 12 seconds as it starts to count down. A quick swing. The Fenrir's gone as Epic lives up to his namesake. All up to Bless now as the plant starts to go down, but Eddie's there. It's a good night and a sleep time.
Man, the extra time appears to be working on the Nadeshot in their favor. They've been able to study up maybe how this Miami Heat team was going to play out, but I mean, just in general, good executes overall. Worked the upstairs floors, cleared out. The Valkyrie made sure that they had total vertical control, opened up those all of the avenues there for the quick execute at the end. And man, just pulled it off. Clinical the way that Nadeshot managed the basement attack as well. So now we've seen second floor and basement both in succession.
Protect your bombs from
Great attacking rounds for LFO. So where do we go? Miami Heat's going to keep the rotation going. They're going to pull out the bunks briefing side. And this one for sure is going to have a ton of vertical in play as well. Losing the R6 room control over top of that main breach going to be one of those main push points for sure for Nadeshot. So we're going to see Miami Heat dedicate a lot of time and effort upstairs to holding on to R6.
Well, you said it, dedicated time. They brought a couple operators to make sure that they steal away as much as possible as well, right? Schmeek going on to the Clash could be that huge pace setter that maybe is exactly what Miami Heat needs, right? At the moment, it just looks like Nadeshot's pushing in, taking space, punch in the face, and then win the round. So anything to slow that down feels like a better call. Couple that with the area now of the smoke. And then, of course, Bless on that Solus with a little bit of intel as well. This is a good setup. The problem is they're getting aggressive on Nadeshot's side run. We've got the Blitz. Epic is onto the Ying, which does sit on tech as well, right? Shotgun in hand, Reaper in the pocket. And then they got the classic style of just get in and take space with Bino and Eddie, making sure that they get those walls opened up. Wall number 1 already done.
Yeah, that's the important one. They managed to get that thing done. Now the work begins upstairs. They need to clear out this vertical side. So you can see Bless working that piece. Aimkey doing a little bit of lurk downstairs in the corridor outside. But, man, there it is. The plant going down, playing behind the shield. And the smoke, I was going to say, didn't get it, but he finally pulls it off. Well played there by this defense to shut that thing down.
That's right. Now they claim that man advantage as the second falls. Fens is able to take Silo off the board, but at a cost, right? They did get the wall open, so they got step number 1. But Diffuser now down cold inside, watched from the vertical. Now looking for a little bit of a retake scenario. Epic does sit up top. He's got 3 kills to his name currently. Shotgun in hand. There's going to be the Grismod. It's going to force some movement towards that main lobby side. And it's going to be a Dokkaebi call to try to suss out where the heck these last 2 are at. Last 4.
Well played there. The Yin Candela coming out. They know we've got these defenders holding on upstairs. A pair of them. Look at this. But no, loses the battle to Twist. with the shoddy in hand. Epic's going to try and make this swing, but honestly, I think the defender wins that battle. And plus, they're just wasting time right now. Eddie just on fire. Man, using the new DMR, that's risky considering, you know, the potential for a tech pause there.
There you go. Schmink's gonna find that last kill as he holds on to the long angle, and looks like 2012 Miami Heat's gonna find their first round. They're gonna do it on that first bit of round rotate. So a little bit better look here, Run, as they claim that mid floor, which kind of falls into line with some of that current compy strat that we like to watch across the board, across all of the maps. So as the bans come out, Clash, no surprise there, is going to get taken out. Goodbye. No more slowdown from a shield on the defense. And then the Ace on the other side of it. And Ace is kind of interesting, right? You didn't see those hard breach bans when we first got started into this. And that's kind of, there's a kind of a big change, right? Ace now no longer affected by the mute jammers because it's mechanical out instead of electrical. Thermite's got his third charge now. Habana now doesn't have to reload between those X-Kyros and carries the new DMR. So a lot of changes to the attack side of it. So a little surprising that we're only seeing that first hard breach ban right now. Although, you know what? It's, you know, it works. Glass is definitely overpowered. Monty, you don't want to deal with. So it makes sense that we got there here on ban number 3.
Well, it's a trade-off between that fundamental strategic siege or, you know, cheese apps maybe, but just the shield style of play, right? Because you talked about all 3 of the hard breach operators essentially got a buff here in the new season, it's almost a foregone conclusion that the specific walls are going to get opened unless the defense spends a significant amount of time and effort to trying to block that off. And the fact that Nadeshot banned both the Bandit and the Cade means that, yeah, they're going to have all of that options open. So from the Miami side, don't bother banning the hard breachers because you're going to have, it's going to get open no matter what. Take away some other pieces of this strategy. You've got Center, who is very good on the shields we talked about, right? Ban the Monty, and then the Glass. So good at holding some of those long angles and certainly favors players with a little bit of that mechanical skill and fantastic aim, right? Take those pieces of it away. Allow them, invite them in to take the shots, and then try and, you know, block that with a combination of, you know, the Warden and the area denial, which they've been playing basically every round. So it's a bit of a trade-off, you said it, but where I think we're going to see all of the walls get opened up in nearly every match going forward.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. And they're going to do it here as well on the upstairs. Thermite going to open it up. Eddie just sits down below, right? A Predator waiting for that go button. Grenade's going to ring out. It's going to force some movement out of a zombie, but she's able to rotate back. A couple of shots from below as the danger starting to ring out. Fens yet again getting activated. He gets his life taken away, though. Schmeek is able to answer back, and Bino onto aim key. So yet again, we get to the halfway point, and it is going to be Nadeshot that is up in that man advantage currently, as they're going to kind of try to rely on Silo and those smoke canisters to stall out the rest of this round.
Oh, and they're going to have to stall for sure. In a 2v4 scenario, Nadeshot has got a significant advantage right now, and both of them upstairs holding on to this 2F, so they are consolidated. Nothing downstairs they need to worry about, so they're going to have to watch some of the stairs, but, man, from a Nadeshot perspective, they are ready. Diffuser is in hand. They have got the coverage from the Blackbeard as well. Everything going their way right now, and still a bunch of utility. Flashes, Nade still in pocket for this attacking team.
Pushes up, Smoke's gonna say hello and stop him yet again, and well placed as well, Run. Did you see that cover both the door and the breach and the rotate in to that default plant area as well? So good positioning with the Smoke, was able to deny it again, and since they haven't pushed, they can start to wind down. He's got that last one still in place. They made their way in though. Smoke canister not gonna stop them. All of a sudden, Epic's able to take Silo off the board. Epic good for a double. They claim 2F again, Run. And it feels like it's starting to get a little dramatic.
Yeah, I mean, with that second smoke canister going out was perfectly placed. You talked about covering the door and the breach, but then The third and final was a miss. It got caught just on the edge of that soft wall, and now allowing it to be used the way that they needed to. So a little bit of a mistake there at the end, and LFO capitalizes immediately, pulls off a 3-win so far on the attacking side. So the Heat, I mean, they found success on the tertiary site, as it were. Typically the best opportunity for the defenders to lose a round, the attackers to win, but a little bit game of role reversal here. And rather than go through the standard round rotate, they already saw how LFO was playing all 3 of the sites. They're going to try the second floor again for the 3rd time in this first half. They've lost it twice, but I don't know, I wouldn't say close at that point, because it has felt like Nadeshot has been in control for the most part across the board every time that they played this site. So they did change it up though, bringing the Tachanka back out to complement Twist and that smoke.
Yeah, we start talking win cons here, and I know it's early, but it's a best of one. So the sprint to the end feels like we get to the finalization of this match really quickly. So if we're talking win cons here, I like the double area denial outside of Miami Heat, but really, honestly, it's LeBronzo, right? 1-4, we need him to get activated here against this really epic team on the other side of it. So win con going forward, it's going to see AIM2 getting involved in some of these fights.
Going to see the Flores come out and try and clear out some of this defensive utility. They had a few of it across the board, but again, everybody upstairs on the second floor. The only piece of it here, Bless running that mute with a jammer in pocket to try and hide his position there on the stairs. But from the roam clear, nobody. They did not bring out the Dokkaebi this time, opting for the Rowar instead from Bino. And man, with the DMR in hand, I like this strategy. We've seen some teams be very successful in cutting off some of those rotates using the Rowar, but right now they have not focused on opening up that main wall. We did say a little bit of a foregone conclusion, but rather than try and go for the main breach outside, they're going to stay on the operational side of this, open up the sight lines here, and then hopefully go for that default on the massive side.
Well, attack has made their way inside of operationals. They doubled up on their presence there. Some good real estate if you're a fan of Nadeshot. They've still got some layers to deal with here, Run. We've got the layer of aim key on that Mira. You follow it up with the Tachanka. Follow it up yet again with the smoke behind. Plenty of time to do some torching here to slow down this attack shot and put him in a good position to find another round. Being 5 alive still in minute 14 feels like part of a win here.
Certainly better option at this point. They haven't lost anybody early, so they've got all the defensive assets in play. But look at this! No! Oh, Bless just walking right in front of the window, and center punishes him for it. Again, running the DMR. I guess people are feeling significantly more confident today than the teams were yesterday. We definitely saw teams avoid running the Thatcher, avoid running that new DMR because of the risk of the game crash. So it's interesting, but man, this is absolutely falling apart for the Heat. Holy cow, before we even finish that, LeBron's the last one left alive, and even he goes down in a hail of bullets as, yep, they didn't need to open that main breach on the outside. Perfect operational push, and Miami Heat unable to stop it.
Yeah, I mean, 4-1 doesn't quite tell the story of how these first 5 rounds have went, right? Because we're on the precipice of seeing a standard split, just attacker side instead of defender. All right, if Miami Heat takes another round, you know they're going to bring some aggression on attack, and maybe that's what we need on the defensive side, right? We were listening to Zach comment about that yesterday. It's that sometimes it's good to just try to fight fire with fire. The problem is Nadeshot's coming in with blowtorches, and and it's just absolutely mowing down the competition. They're not having to sit on angles. They're just coming in, they're taking space, and they're just winning the gunfights. And by they, I'm talking specifically Epic and Feds. They are just coming in and crushing currently every time they get into an engagement. So win con number 1 is get aim key involved in some of these fights. Win con number 2, Epic and Feds, they gotta go.
Yeah, just absolutely on fire right now. These guys having a tremendous game, and it's the game, obviously, you want to do it. Again, if you're just joining us, welcome in, everyone. We're talking about the SI Open Qualifier, #1 here in North America. What's at stake? This is a best-of-1 single elimination bracket, meaning the loser of this game goes home. The winner goes on to face Envy, patiently waiting for a best-of-3 to see if they qualify to the closed qualifier. The loser of this, the next opportunity they'll have for the SI Open qualifiers is December 20th for that qualifier #2. And the problem is only one team will move on to close for that qualifier. So best opportunity is today. They have to win a best-of-1 and then a best-of-3 to make it. And honestly, 3 great teams left on the board. Miami Heat, Nadeshot, and Envy. Only one of those 3 is going to make it to close, and it's honestly tragic that that's the position we're in.
Honestly, though, you know what it means? It means 2 of those teams are going to be in qual next week as well. So if you thought you were saving qual for qual #2, and there's going to be less good teams, well, there's still going to be 2 of the best that we have competing in qual #2 for that solo spot. So pressure, yeah, really going to be mounting for today to get something done, to get activated and find that spot. Gridlock tracks start to go out. We're going to try to stonk some of that movement from the backside to side. The grenade's going to force some movement. As they still haven't been a chance to really get in and claim space just yet. Second grenade to try to force them out of that near stair area. Epic is going to find Silo off the board, and that's going to be a huge first pick. Yet again, Nadeshot claiming that man advantage. A quick shot, but Schmink's there to answer.
There's one.
Vector finds one, and that's going to be an equalized body count run.
Yeah, that is huge. That was the first piece you said, take down Epic, take down Fence. Well, they got one. They lost Silo in the process, so all those flashes that are in hand are going to be a little bit more valuable since they don't have the Warden to be able to try and deal with it. But look at this. They're going to try and use the Sens to come in, backed up by a Blackbeard. This is a very good setup, but you can see the Miami Heat. How many of those blue outlines are upstairs? They are still holding on to R6 with very little pressure from Nadeshot to be able to take down the second floor. And holy cow, look at this. The Sen... Oh, man, I didn't realize the Sens guys would show up clogging up the screen for solos.
Oh, yeah, it's electric, baby, and that's going to get pointed out for sure. And what I love too that we're seeing is it's kind of baiting out these smoke canisters, right? You're watching the Sens gadget get turned on and off, on and off, on and off, and basically you're not sure when that execute is coming because it just keeps flashing back down, and then you get caught in a bad position. But it's all time waste here. Now down to 6 seconds. Eddie's able to take one off of the board. They're going to find them one of those vertical shots, and hello? Plant denied. Plant denied run. Schmink good for 2 as they're able to capitalize and find their second round.
Yep, that one was well done. The vertical held upstairs to be able to deny the plant at the last moment, and just good angles. Miami Heat waited, baited, as you said, into, getting the plant down when they did not have a completely clear spot, and Nadeshot pays the price. Miami Heat picks up a second. You said it, 4-1 didn't really feel like it told the story because that was definitely an LFO half for sure. The Miami Heat only showing a few moments of brilliance there. And finally, at the end, boy, the tertiary site, the only place they were able to find any success overall. But you know what? They pulled off 2. Found 2 defensive wins. And again, we are in a best-of-1. So now they need to have some stellar attacks coming into this one.
Yeah, and I think Lair can give itself that, right? Lair can be incredibly attacker-sided with a well-coordinated team. The problem is, at this stage of the qualifier, almost all of them are well-coordinated teams. So now we get into the micro games. Now we get into the target ban games. Now we get into whose aim is better, who's paying off today, which aim lab's performance is going to dominate. So we'll see what they bring to the table. Bans, they're going to be stock standard. It's the same exact as we saw in the first. Deny that breach, denial, and getting that glass off the board, which honestly, we've been seeing a lot. Glass has proved to be huge lately in the comp scene, and honestly, and I know you're here for it, that's your main, you gotta be loving this, man.
That's true. Getting to see Glaz, I mean, really come into his own in the competitive scene for sure. I think it's in a DMR meta. I mean, he's one of the top players, and the fact that they've added even more DMRs is certainly an interesting choice from Ubi. But I know there is a lot of competitive players very happy with the addition of that new DMR to Thatcher, Capital, Hibana, and honestly, I'm loving the Nook as well, picking up the DMR.
Yeah, that one seems pretty funny. Sneaky, quiet little Nook coming around with this giant DMR. Don't get caught slipping, folks. You'll get caught sleeping, too. I like all the changes with it for sure. And DMR, yeah, it's just the meta, right? Those players that are good, those players that can cap heads, man, they are sitting on the DMRs, and it's working really well. And I believe I heard that now, with that recent addition to the new DMR, you can potentially bring a fully DMR loadout. Not that, like, the gadgets would be any good, you know, in conjunction. You'd have to work out some strats, but potentially you could run full DMR, I think. That's crazy.
Absolutely, 100%. It's an interesting setup, and you take a look at how Nadeshot has got this. I mean, mostly on lockdown, the same way we would see this typically held. I love the addition of the Mira. Epic running the Mira there. It's one of those, we heard Canadian talk about it, when the attackers don't, or when the defenders don't ban the ranged breach operators, and it makes it a little less valuable. But still, I think running the Mira certainly on this setup is the one. And both teams really leaning into that similar style of play where you use the Mira window to try to deny that main breach. So it forces the teams into the operational side. And you can see Miami Heat attacks stacked up on that side of the map. 3 attackers on that spot. And the Chanka center is just sitting in wait.
You know what I love, too, is when we're bringing along the Mira, when there is still hard breach on the board that's that long range, you get a chance if you take them off early, if you're going to have that really aggressive defensive start, then you take that ace off the board. It's just a bigger problem. Oh, my lord, look at this. It's going to be Silo on tech because with the shotgun to rain out. They claim that man advantage now, up by 1 with just a minute left. Attack starting to get activated as those Candelas come in. Schmidt
what a
flank! Gonna find another kill, but Silo with his life forfeit is now we put ourselves into a 3-2, just having to hold out for 52 seconds. But they're gonna be denied again. Now you talked about it, that Mira being so important run. Well, it's 5 HP in a dream in this 1v3. Plant starting to go down. Epic, you can hear it. Sound cue is there. Just not going to be able to get there. Holding on to it. What does he even see? Ear hustling.
Yeah. Just absolutely locked in on audio, taking some steps, and honestly, he could have sprayed through the Sens wall and probably managed to find a hit because he was so low on health. Big win there for the Miami Heat, and man, the second floor site is entirely attacker sided at this point. We haven't seen a defensive win upstairs yet. And with a couple of different setups, right? Not focused on one in particular, but right now it just feels like it's the attackers have really got that thing on lockdown. Basement as well, we've only seen it once, and that was an attacker win as well, back on round 2. So we'll see how Nadeshot adapts to hold on to this site. And, well, I was going to say, that fire was awfully close to Bino.
He likes the heat, my friend. When the pressure's on, Bino's there. They switch up a couple of operators, still kind of leaning into that area denial, as we're going to see Goyo come out this time, coupled up with his homie Smoke. So a good chance to make sure that you're at least not going to get into sight fast, which is kind of what we saw at Nadeshot, right? They were just claiming space very early, getting that coveted real estate, and then holding on and making those long shots. So they're going to not be able to do that as quick on the side of Miami Heat with the operator lineup. It's layers upon layers upon layers. First, you got to get through the Denari and the Azami. Then you've got to get through the Mira. Then you have to get through the area denial at the end. Everybody is a pace setter here, Run.
Yeah, boy, you said it. There is an awful lot of defensive utility they've got upstairs, and It's interesting, you know, they have the ram to try and clear out some of this vertical play upstairs, but right now, Miami Heat is just picking this Nadeshot defense apart. They had 2 players out, sort of playing that roam game, and the combination of Silo on the Blackbeard had just completely cleared that out. And look at this! Boy, Twist playing the Deimos, gets a ping, thinks he's got a shot, and man, Fens absolutely punishes him for taking that shot.
Huge play, right? You even though that you lost your Deimos, you still come out with the man advantage in a big way. It's going to give you some time to move. A C4 to ring out, but the shield's going to stay alive. They're just taking a couple of quick shots, hoping to capitalize on a small mistake, but no mistakes to be had on the side of the Heat. Silo's able to find another one. Oh, my Lord, and they're looking close onto the breach for another. Silo's going to take him down as well. Onto the triple kill. Fens the last alive. The frag leader for Nadeshot. Going to try to bring it back in a 1v4. Time not on his side for this one.
Yeah, especially since the Miami Heat had good coverage upstairs playing the vertical as well, so he was going to be trapped into just a few positions that he's able to try and put any pressure on that attacking team downstairs before getting deleted at the end. And 2 big defensive, 2 big attacking wins there to start this thing off on 2F and the basement. The strongholds for the attackers here on Lair today. The only place we've seen a defensive win, Bunks and Briefing. And LFO not going to play that site. They're going to try the second floor one more time. Or how about the 4th time out of 8 rounds?
Yeah, it definitely seems to be the favored location to do battle. You know, it brings a little bit of everything to the table there. And, you know, what's crazy is, you know, we talked about how important vertical is. Haven't seen a buck just yet now. And that's obviously not knowing what the strat here out of Miami Heat is or what the strat out of Nadeshot is. But it's just something that we see, you know, being brought quite a bit. This time they're using the Deimos for it.
I mean, and I love the Deimos on this map. Playing the vertical, so much breachable floor. There's tons of opportunity. The thing is, you know, I felt like Twist was not using him in the right place on that previous round. He goes to take the shot inside the door and peeks in, rather than trying to play it directly from below, shooting up through that floor. So he was outside when he used that ping. I mean, for sure, the Deimos needs to be in a safe spot because his location gets revealed at the same time. But just it didn't feel like that went the way that that the Heat wanted it to. Now, in the end, it didn't matter because ultimately they're able to clear this thing out. They're able to come bounce back and pick up a round win on it. So this time we're gonna see, the Warden Fens playing at the top of the stairs. I like that play. C4 is already down and nothing hitting there specifically, but Aimkey loses a ton of his life as they're trying to clear out the mirror from over here on the operational side. This is, I mean, locked in right now.
Well, that was what we were talking about earlier. When you bring in the Mira, you have to have some of that long-range hard breach to deal with it. And I said if you get aggressive and you can take that hard breach off the board early, it definitely can feel like the round is going into the win column for you. And they almost pulled it off there. Now he still has 2 summon charges, still can get active towards making sure he gets those mirrors off the board. And man, just by the hair on his chinny chin run. It's 5 HP and a dream for AP LeBronzo going forward.
Well, they've done exactly what they needed to. They completely pushed the defense back off that main breach. So now they've got the option to try and push in. It's only Center playing the Clash that's sort of holding down that server hallway. He's the only one sort of giving some of those calls in. But the problem is yeah, I mean, they still have to cross that hallway. They need the cross in play. Bless is still playing back behind the desk. Bino's still playing back behind the desk with the Azamis in play, so they do not have the control they need. They've got the wall open. That's not enough yet.
Prone behind the desk, Clash to be here as the backup. All 5 alive with under 60 to go. Run. This is about to be an absolute bloodbath. The Capital bolts ring out. It's going to force that movement behind the desk. So Azami and Clash got to move, but unsussed out. It's a C4 run. Prone in the corner saying, I dare you to send it. And there it goes. C4 rings out, but they're not going to find one. Clash starts to make that push up, and now it's all danger for the
No
side
way,
of
he
Nadeshot.
sticks that.
V3 in a post plant. Clash goes down. Ella goes down. Does get answered black. Blessed gets taken off the board. Silo goes as well, so numbers get equalized, and you don't have that shield as the backup now here on the defense. But look at this. They're on the hold the cross and just
oh,
get
no way.
active
He's going to get it.
Stopping that defuse. He's going to try to pull it off, but he's not going to stick it in time. Now into a 2-2 as the Demo starts to get active. Still low-key aim key is there, putting the pressure on. Down to half. They're going to just try to stick this thing. They've got to. There's only a few seconds to get it done. They're not going to. Twist good for 2 as the grenade rings out, and they claim that that scoreline advantage.
Wow. Miami Heat showing up exactly when they needed to, 4 in a row. And honestly, the whole first half of this game really looked like it was Nadeshot's and LFO to control until the Miami Heat took over. 4 in a row. They win their final defensive round and then pick up 3 in a row on attack. I mean, just absolutely shutting down 2F in basement. That's honestly surprising that at this level we're seeing both of those sites be completely attacker-sided. Bunk's briefing, the only place we saw a defensive stronghold. Yeah, and that's where Nadeshot's going to take us. Can they hold on the same as we saw the Heat, or do we see the Heat go to match point here? Again, best of 1, single elimination. It all comes down to this. The loser goes home and has to fight it out in the Open Qualifier number 2 on December 20th. And that's a long time to wait and analyze.
You ain't lying, man. And you ain't lying at all. Man, it feels like the stars are aligning here for LeBronzo. We've got a .MV on his team that wants to make sure that he gets to make a statement in that next game as well. So a lot on the line here for Miami Heat. You can get it done at T1. Hey, straight to the league with you.
Now, all right, just making the joke, but nobody gets to make the league here. But honestly, it sets you up for being able to make it to Paris to play against the T1 teams. This is the opportunity that the T2 teams really have to play against the T1 in a competitive setting, right? Normally you're seeing the T2 teams have to do battle and element in the Sport Contender Series, even in Challenger Series. Yeah, you're going to be against relegation teams of Envy and LFO, so they still have got that coming up in Challenger Series in March. But, I mean, how often do you really get the opportunity to straight go against DZ, Oxygen, and Cloud9 directly for a spot in SI? I freaking love this setup, and I love that the T2 teams have the opportunity to pull this off.
Yeah, me too. And this is not new siege for any of these players against each other, right? Nadeshot and Miami Heat, they've played T2 for as long as we can remember. The Miami Heat, if they go against MV coming up, that's a matchup that has been played out thousands of times in the T2 scene. So we'll just be treated right back to some of that older siege that we have just come to know and love so much. Starting to try to get in sight as those Selma Chargers are opening up, but Impact's got something to say about it. So they're going to try to keep that wall closed, but because the Ying was left on the board and it was the Deimos taken off, and said they're still going to get active with that. Two shots to ring out in succession. Silo goes down, but at a cost. Bino's life does put him in the downed position, not out of it just yet. So currently sitting 4-3 as those Candelas start to ring in. They're making space. They're pushing in, trying to get themselves in a position to claim that verticality. And that's one of the big problems, right? Is you still got to do everything from above. Bino gets confirmed on the kill. When the dust settles, it's 4-3.
All this action is happening upstairs on the 2F. Nothing downstairs yet. I mean, now it's all of the Nadeshot team minus Eddie has made that rotate back down, but all the bloodshed happening, you can see it on the floor. Everything on the 2F, right? Tons of opportunity and play that has to happen up there before they can really get in a position to plant. And you take a look at where the Nadeshot defenders are, holding down Holloway, holding down Bunk directly. Still only Eddie upstairs, and he's got no more smoke, so they don't have the area denial in play anymore. The Miami Heat is going to have to go for this plant right now.
There it is. Smokes ring out. Candela goes in. He puts himself off the pillar. Not in that standard right into the breach spot. They're going to start going for it. A C4 to ring out. Is it going to claim anything? Not in time to stop the plant run. Now put themselves in a 4v2. However, it's retake city for Nadeshot, and they got all the tools to get this one done. Still 2 impacts as well. They're going to take a quick swing, though. Azami goes down, and now it's going to be Schmink with a Reaper in hand, trying to hold on to that. They retake the vertical. That was the big part of it. Now they got to try to take Bless out of there, but he's not going to allow it. Bless good for 2 and a Reaper to claim it, and all of a sudden Miami Heat starts heating up. It's a match point scenario.
Man, not just match point, but match point and SI Open qualifier point for Nadeshot to go home. They have got to be perfect for 2 to send this thing to overtime. Otherwise, the Pro League team is going to have to fight it out in SI Open qualifier number 2. This is a huge opportunity here for the Heat. I mean, they have shown up in a big way. For me, they really struggled at the beginning of this. And it was clear that the pro team was doing a better job across the board of managing the attacks. But in this case, man, I don't know. This is honestly a little bit surprising to see the Heat go 5 in a row against this team. And great job taking a timeout. It was the right time. You know, get a chance to talk about it. How do we want to try to manage this? Because the big thing where we saw the first floor bunks briefing go the attacker side. So there's no safe space that the defenders have. The attackers have won on every single round so far.
Man, get activated. A big chance to do a big upset here, and it comes down to Nadeshot being perfect for 2 in a row against a Miami Heat that is absolutely frying right now. Down to the basement is going to be where this potential last round is going to play out, and yeah, you're going to see him lean into a similar strat run. Double up on the area denial, creating all of these layers yet again. In fact, I think it's the same exact operator lineup that we saw before is setting up that Denari first bit of the layer. Then you've got the Azami and the mirror that you've got to deal with, and then you still have that time torch of the area denial in place. So gonna have to get active against those Goyo canisters early. Gonna have to try to bait out those smokes as much as possible, and potentially at the end of this one, Heat's taking it.
Now, that's a bold prediction when you're talking about a pro league team that they're having to face off against, but the problem is the way that the defenses have just been playing on this map, on this morning here, December 7th, it just feels like the attackers have got this thing on lockdown. They've changed the lineup just a bit, right? Fence is continuing to bring out that the Denari, and they've got the area denial from center. So I think it's a good setup combined with Eddie, but everybody's bunkered. Well, I was going to say they looked like they were bunkered onto that basement site, but some of them made the rotate up. So we don't have a ton of vertical coverage, but I feel like Miami Heat is on fire right now, literally with how great they've been doing. So this is they're going to have to fight against the momentum that this team has built up.
Some of those Goyo canisters going to get dealt with a little bit early. As drones get in and start taking another look as well. Silo's going to take some damage, and it looks like they saw something that they liked up top for the verticals. They're going to send both Aurora and Blackbeard up to claim some of that space as well.
All right, working the top side. Interesting that you know, the this whole attacking team holding on to this basement, so they're definitely going a little bit more direct. Epic has got a good opportunity here, and along with center, to try and take some of that vertical play. We saw that work when they were on attack, being able to clear out the defenders, holding on to some of these angles. So they just need to work that part in conjunction. But Fence continues his reign. No, 13-7-1. Man, what a scoreline he's got so far.
No kidding, but you can't get it done by yourself, and now he can't get it done at all as he finds his life forfeit. A quick exchange, the global gadget of Finka taken off the board as well into this 4-4. Minute and 15 left, and the defense is going to go just hold the line. They got to have 70 seconds of just holding the line. They're in a good position to do that. Now the vertical starts to open up. Now they can get a little oppressive with some of that pressure from above, try to suss out somebody who's in one of those critical push point stops, but they still got some vertical up here. There it is, a zombie making that rotate around, and you're going to see that contest. Oh, some siege timing, though.
Oh, there it is.
Find Schmink's live forfeit. That does put us into a 3-3 now as Blackbeard makes that hatch drop in, a couple of quick fires, and a huge run now into a 3v1 scenario. Plant is going down. It's all up to a zombie, but it's all for naught. Heat is cooking off the board.
Big GG's to the Miami Heat, 2012 NBA champions, LeBron James MVP. In this case, though, Schmink pulls that off, and what a play overall for this team. Nadeshot is going to have to, give their try it out on December 20th. They're going to have to go for open qualifier number 2 as the alternative because losing to the Heat, that sends Miami forward to face off against Envy and sets up the Twist v his old team storyline here into a best of 3 to decide who is moving on to join AWU in that closed qualifier in January.
Man, I love it. .NV versus .MV. We've got LeBronzo and JJ facing off. I mean, this is like last year's peak T2 Siege coming back full force right now, and I can't even wait for it. You know the deal, you know the drill. We got to get those lobbies set up. We're going to find out where the battleground is going to be, and when we come back, it's going to be a best of 3 heard around the world. Sit back, relax, because when we come back, we're going to get started with that best of 3 match. Ayo.
Let's go.
Some of the teams that
What's up and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. Couldn't put it better myself, here to make history. It's the last chance for SI, the path to playing against some pros, the gateway to greatness. And this match coming up, this best of 3, has been played out time and time again in the T2 scene. This time, there's a little extra ramifications involved.
Yeah, that's right. You said it's a path to pro, and for the Miami Heat, it involves taking down 2 Pro League teams in order to make that SI dream just a little bit closer. As we come into it, welcome everyone to the SI 6th Invitational Last Chance Qualifier, Open Qualifier number 1 here in North America. Man, we had 60 teams battle it out, but the 2 big names, obviously, Envy and LFO, waiting in the bracket to try and dash some teams' hopes. But Miami Heat has already put one of them down. It's time for a best of 3 to decide whether or not Envy is going to be moving on to closed to join the rest of those Pro League teams in waiting for that closed qualifier.
That's right. So you watched it earlier. Aimkey, Bless, Schmink, Silo, and Twist, and their performance against LFO. Now they're taking on Team Envy, recently into Pro League through Challenger Series. A couple of new additions to the team run. This is a goated stack, and they have been making it look easy this entire qual. JJ, Presidential, Mike W, Ivan, Rival, and of course, hometown hero and local favorite, Packer, taking on the Aimkey stack. What are you thinking about this one?
I mean, there was a lot of discussion yesterday how this might be one of the best iterations of the JJ stack that's put together, but there's a guy that might not feel the same way, Twist.Envy, over on the other side, but put together with Aimkey and Silo from that incredible Akron stack that they have really been dominating the T2 and collegiate scene. I mean, backed up by Blesh and Smink. So this is a very good roster overall. And, I mean, honestly, we're going to have a great game. It was really difficult to choose or even think about choosing who needed to win that previous best of one when you had LFO waiting. So their Pro League dreams are not dashed. Their SI dreams are not dashed yet, but it certainly makes it just that more difficult. Only one of these two teams can move on to close the qualifiers coming up in January. And the loser is going to have to fight with LFO in the qualifier number 2 that happens on December 20th.
Man, the 3 big names in that as well, right? LFO, MV, and Aimkey stack. Only one of them are going to be able to make it, and that feels huge. It's a best of 3 for this one. This is what we got to get through. So take a look at it. Chalet, ClubHouse, and Consulate. The triple C's here into the map picks. And, you know, Chalet being internationally kind of attacker-sided and kind of the closest exchange we saw yesterday with Team Envy when they were taking on Kraken Seas. Feels like a good first pick here for Miami Heat.
I'm honestly a little bit devastated that we unfortunately don't have the Fortress map in. I really wanted to see Fortress come in as a part of it. That would have been awesome to see, right? Finally getting to see Fortress, but no, it is going to be Chalet as the place to start. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer to see Fortress in Pro League yet.
Okay, well, I mean, if we got to put it off, we got to put it off, but it looks like the lobby's ready. Bands are getting done. Run. It's Chalet, and it is getting started right now. Chalet yesterday, bit of a, I don't know if I want to call it a struggle. There was definitely trolling going on by Team Envy, but this is not a stack that you can necessarily do that with, right? This is a stack that, as maybe not as this current iteration, but this is a stack that that JJ and Co has lost to before, right? So the potential for the upset is there. The big problem, man, Envy daily scrims. This is their full-time job now. A completely different JJ than he faced in Challenger Series and in that T2 scene. So let's see how bands are going to ring out for this first one run. It's going to be the Grim Blackbeard on the side of the attack. They don't want that shield. They don't want that spearhead and take away your intel as well. And then on the other side of it, Cade and Mira, zero surprise with that one.
Yeah, the Cade and the Mira, that combo has been one that certainly feels like a fan favorite from the competitive scene to try and take down on Chalet. Mira's got a couple great spots, and honestly, you know, we talked about how much buffing had happened with those the hard breach operators. That it seems like a foregone conclusion that we're gonna see those bands come out, that those walls get open. So might as well you know, switch in and take down the Mira instead. But oh no, you know what?
No.
We had a clean run so far. Aimkey,
a clean run in the best of one.
Yeah, well, I mean, all day yesterday we were also very successful. So honestly, it felt like that it had to happen at some point. So we're gonna send it to a break, my friend, as we go through a full rehost. You know what? It happens.
And we're going to take a look at that cool video in the process, right? Prog going to troll us a little bit. Well, we want some more history to be made. You heard it.
That's right.
It's a rehost. It happens. Live siege, live problems. Sit back, relax, because when we come back, we're going to get started with that very first match. Ayo.
Let's go.
Starts finding other areas.
What's up, and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. A little bit of a rewind as we're going to do those bands again. Lobby set back up. It was round number 1, so no real implications just yet before that rehost. So, yeah, we saw the Grim and what was the other attacker now? I can't even. Oh, Blackbeard. That's what it was. Grim, Blackbeard, Cade, Mira.
And it should definitely be the same since, I mean, they had to make sure they keep that competitive integrity up. But welcome back to see Envy. We saw them all day yesterday here on the stream. Miami Heat looking to make a statement here going into the last best of 3 to qualify. Man, looking forward to this one. In the first place, we saw Chalet yesterday with this Envy team, and talking to JJ, there was you know, some interesting shenanigans going on. They were making sure that they were keeping their strats in check throughout that entire match because it was a little bit fun and it allowed Kraken Seas to get close. We'll wonder whether or not they're going to play that same style of game here versus the Miami Heat.
Attackers have located a bomb.
I love that we've been seeing a little bit more of this Chalet run. We had that sort of dip off where everybody was kind of hating it, right? It was, I guess it was because it was making that change from 2F and basement being the accepted first sites, and of course that incredibly aggressive nature that Chalet has now taken as well. Man, is he saying another bug? Oh no.
Interesting. Are they? I don't know that they can.
They flew.
What was that? Our observer hopped in for a second. What was that unnamed?
They're playing through to round one. Try for fix between rounds.
Okay, well, appreciate that for chiming in. There we go. There's the answer. We're going to play out round one and see how it goes. Whether or not that is a significant disadvantage to Aimkey or you know, not a big deal at all. We're going to wait and see how it goes. But, man, not the place that you want to have it happen. You already used your rehost, though, back on round one. So one rehost technical per side. So that's tough for them to try and manage around. At least as we're getting to see this one happen, the drone downstairs holding on. I mean, waiting. What's going to happen in the basement? All this vertical, though, being held, and utility end players focused on the upstairs side. We've got 4 of the NV defensive squad holding on to 2F.
Yeah, kind of that accepted play for the kitchen site, right? Is take some operators, give yourself a little bit of space and pace, and then just go up and hold it. And that's exactly what Rival's going to be doing on the Azami inside of Piano, holding what we're doing, holding on to those solarium stairs, and of course Packer all the way in the bedroom area. Mike W's going to get taken down. Presidential falls. Find ourselves with a man advantage over to Miami Heat here. They claim it by 1.
A little bit of a util dump coming in. Can they gain control here on the big window from the solar stairs? Man, just running around like crazy. Nobody falls, no damage done until the shield pushes up the stairs, and that silo taking down Ivan. And Ivan had a great day yesterday, so that's a tragic loss early on in this match. But Aimkey gets a little over-aggressive. Packer punishes him for it upstairs. Is, man, right now, really, Blitz is Silo the only guy that sort of gained any little piece of map control, but the rest of his team falling apart behind him.
Yeah, still 2 hold up in trophy room, but they're in a position to start and help that plant to go through. The west main pressure was looking, but I think it's a full rotate, right? Made their way all the way back around. Bless is going to use the LMG to take Packer off the board. Does put us into that 3-2 scenario. Well, now they're in a good position to hold the cross and just get a plant set up. A couple of foe pushes through the window as he's trying to bait out all of the engagement. Looks for a couple.
Oh, what a shot!
Time. They get the blitz down, but the plant goes off. Now into a 2-2, and it's going to be the shot from Schmink to take JJ down. All up to Rival now to get this one done. A couple of quick peeks. Nobody's showing anything just yet. It's a prone position there. They're going to find it. Blessed with an LMG to claim a couple on this one, and first round is going to go to the Heat as they start cooking up.
Going to be a little, we said, a little bit of pause in between the round to try and do a quick restart. But honestly, it didn't seem like it made the biggest difference there because the Miami Heat pulled it off. But it was honestly off the back of Silo and the Blitz having an incredible game, right? Just claiming space on the site, winning the battle on Solar Stairs early. Taking advantage of the fact that MB was playing a little bit further off-site, Mano maybe not expecting that more of a direct takedown stairs, and then planting with good coverage on that wall. JJ got close, just seconds away from being able to take down the planner. He does manage to kill Silo in the process, but then you end up at a 2v1 close cover combo downstairs in Trophy, and it's Blessed that gets that final kill. It was a good play from Miami Heat. So whether or not Aimkey's mouse made the difference, he was basically on rappel the entire time, and then swings in and immediately dies to Packers. So I don't know if we can blame the mouse on that one.
Potentially, but Miami Heat finds their first. It's attacker-sided Chalet, and one thing that we know about the aim key stack, about the LeBronzo stack, is that they're really good at communicating with each other. They have a plan, they see through the first step, they get a reassessment, and then they go for execute, and this has worked time and time and time again. They just proved it again here on Chalet, and now they're going to have to go for the other first floor bomb site, right, which has a similar feel to it. You're still going to be doing that space taking up on the 2F, albeit this time probably a little bit more sight over instead of direct to, but still going to be an incredible stall game that the defense is going to have to bring to the table. It's all going to be about that first pick, Run.
That is the question. Is the first pick, which way is that one going to go? Still waiting to see whether or not Aimkey or LeBron maybe gets back in this lobby. Are we going to have an issue with the mouse going forward? Or is this going to be just the end of the tech issues here? It is a best of 3. Again, if you're just joining us, welcome in, everyone. LCQ semi-final game. It's a best of 3. Chalet, ClubHouse, and if necessary, Consulate, the place that we will do battle to be the decider. And the winner moves on the closed qualifiers to face Dark Zero, Oxygen, Cloud9, the winner of Element 5, that's Alix, the winner of Element 6, which is TBD this weekend, and the other guys that picked up a win yesterday in the semifinal game. Man, what a stacked lineup that closed qualifier is going to be. Honestly, I'm super excited to see T2 versus T1 to decide who's going to SI.
Yeah, what a world we live in, right? And we're trying to decide like who can we even like pick to be the obvious favorite, and you feel like it would be Team Envy, right? The T1, they had their grind up, they just changed up the stack to a couple of goated players as well. So you're feeling like Team Envy, but one of the things about Aimkey and his stack is when they start heating up, once they start cooking, it's hard to slow that momentum down. And since they're on the attack side for Chalet, feels like we could build some momentum up here pretty quick. So the pressure for Envy to perform, it's going to be here in spades, and they're going to need to do it quickly.
And we talk about like how many rounds they've won in a row. This is number 8. Right, they finished 6 in a row on that previous map to beat out the LFO squad. So the fact that now they've won 8 rounds in a row is a tremendous amount of momentum carrying in. So the vibes have got to be very high on this team. I said during that first matchup, that best of 1, that it really favored the LFO squad because they had been together as that stack a little bit longer than the Miami Heat. I mean, Akram played a huge best of 5 against Cincy in the CR6 finals. Just on, I think that was Friday night. But this is a completely different stack than Aimkey and Silo are used to. So it felt like it favored that stack that had been together. But on the Envy side, right, yesterday was that first real match where they played a whole day of play days together as a stack. So this one feels a little bit more balanced.
Well, coming together so quick, they definitely got a lot done, and already a huge accomplishment sending one of those T1s home to try to get in qual number 2. So, at the very least, you got a story you can tell the grandkids about. Defense, they're going to get a little bit of intel. Mozzie on the board. Still sticking with some of those comfort picks in the Ella. You see the Frost brought out on Chalet. Bar gaming is almost a necessary, right? Stop some of those quick jump-ins on the window inside of sight or mud. But the big important part is going to be that deployable shield that Frost brings to the table. They set it up at blue, and it just is a time torch, my friend, trying to hold on, holding on to that blue area. Mozzie going to be the first to go. Mike W going to see an 0-2 start, which unusual. Of course, hasn't got the juices flowing just yet. But early on here, Run, it's going to be Heat taking that man advantage.
No, JJ is the one that is absolutely on fire right now. 4-1 to start this thing off a huge double. He finally goes down to Twist, but the damage partially done. They lost the Blitz and they lost the Ash. They're not going to be able to take down and clear out some of this extra utility. You talked about that shield top blue. For sure, that is going to slow this team down, but we still have got defenders holding up in library as well. They've been unable to basically push the players out, and the way that they're approaching from the game room side is almost inviting in a little bit of a retake here at this point. And look at this, the plant going down, but he can't hit the vertical.
Hello? Oh no. Post plan in a 3v3 scenario. That one's gonna get VOD reviewed on why the heck that didn't work. Now it's a retake scenario. Classic here for Envy that they've got to get back in and take it. Everybody now down onto the first floor. Flashes start to ring out. A quick swing is going to see Frost going down. Now into a 2-2 scenario. 2-1. Schmink the last alive. He's got to make the swing, but it's not going to happen. A shotgun's going to claim it, and they're going to be able to find that round. Envy answers back here on round number 2.
Yeah, well played attack there from the Miami Heat. They managed to get the diffuser down, but I mean, like we said, almost inviting them, baiting them in to plant downstairs while they had no vertical coverage in play. I'm honestly shocked that he was even able to get the diffuser down. But you know what? You win that battle, but then lose the rest of the war as Envy manages to clear out the rest of the attacking team. So good call from them. I mean, balanced battle back and forth. It stops the 8-round winning streak that Aimkey and the team had carried forward into this game. Didn't expect it to last forever again against Envy.
All right, so keep the routine up. Not going to go back to that first floor kitchen site. Instead, they're going to take it down below. And this is an interesting site, right? You've heard us talk about it kind of with mixed opinions. It's one of the problems, one of the cons, is that there is just legitimately a ton of ways to get down into this site, right? You're talking trench, garage, west main, just on the backside. Blue access, hatches, 2 of them, mind you, and main and snowmobile. We're almost talking 10 different ways that you can potentially get down or put some oppressive pressure onto this basement site. So what does that mean? That means extensions. That means we've got to get up and active across the entirety of the map, or a full extension onto the bottom. In this case, I think they're doing a little bit of both, Ron.
Yeah, I mean, 3 upstairs and the 2F2 in the basement. Pretty big extension here from this team, and it's committed, right? With both with 2 mezzanine and library, that place is locked down. Packer the only one that's sort of off on his own over on the master bedroom side, and it looked like that was where Miami Heat was looking to take advantage and force a 1, and Silo's going to be the guy to do it. Man, we've been saying his name all over the place. Great play on the shields, and now backed up by the Dokkaebi. He's only at 2-2, but has had definitely a bigger impact on that across the board. Yeah, even though Packer goes down, all that passive utility in play, but that's a huge loss and gives away the whole master office side of this map to the attackers.
Man, the caster curse on Packer. If you're a Packer fan, you just head over to Twitter. You can @ him RacingENGR. Say, quit caster cursing my favorite players. 1 down, 4 to go if you're a Heat fan. That's a big first one. Remove a C4 from the board. Still got a couple in hand to deal some of that vertical damage. But really, kind of displaces part of this. Now they've got a bunch of that 2F site for free, but only 1 person even up there. They're just pushing space currently. Aimkey's going to open up into trench. They've got a plan, and they're going to start sending it.
Look at that. Oh no, unfortunate. Misses the C4, loses a bunch of the defensive utility, and Twist upstairs goes crazy, taking down 2 of the defenders. Plus Silo, man, leaving Mike W in a 1v4 with a plant going down.
Big rotate here, but it's going to be all for naught. Is Twist.Envy is going to say, hey, hello, also goodbye and good night.
Man, well played there from the Heat again. So they managed to find a win on kitchen and then take down the basement site. It's sorting out the roamers upstairs quickly, taking down Packer. And then I felt like a little bit of a misplay on the NV side downstairs in the basement, right? All of that hard breach comes in to open up boiler, to open up the main breach, looking at garage. And the C4 goes out. You lose some of your own utility in the process, and then the attackers just absolutely collapse on the site and shut down that NV defense. So managed to pick up one, and that means we got ourselves a back and forth battle here as we've gone 1 for 1 for 1 so far.
Well, that's exactly what you want to see in a best of 3 that determines if you're going to head to the closed or not, right? You got to be firing on all cylinders for this one run. And Miami Heat, they're starting to get that part of the job done. Now, we're going to see the first round rotate over, which means Envy's back over to Kitchen. They're going to run it back strat. And this time, we've got the Glass on board. And that was banned against the Heat in the last match, specifically because of his ability to put long-range pixel perfection pressure on. And I think they're going to probably try to take advantage of that right now. Couple that with the Ying, couple that with the Deimos. This is a really aggressive setup here out of the Heat.
Yeah, we got to see the Glass banned on both sides of the map on Lair. Too many long angles to be held in the DMR meta in the current state of Siege. So, right now we're going to see him switched off at the last second as well. Going for a little bit of that intel on the roamers because, I mean, already we've seen early on, Envy is liking to play a little bit more spread out approach on this map. So I think Twist switching over to the Lion is a great call for the way that the Heat have been attacking. It shows an adaptation here from this team, and honestly, going to make it a little bit more difficult for those NB players to move around.
Does get spotted out on the ping. Candel's going to start going in. A smoke canister to make sure they're not going to get some quick free entry. But look at this. This is all down the hatch. Blitz starts to make his way in, but he's going to be dealt with. Ivan's able to take Silo
solar
off
control.
And a huge first pick from Envy now. They've got some pressure down. Schmeek also now going to fall into a 5-3. His rival's able to take one. LeBronzo answering back as Ivan's life is forfeit. And then look at that, a quick 2 as it gets answered again. Twist goes down for Packer, now puts us into a man advantage into the hands of Envy. Last, oh man, that's to say, still have a C4 on board. Packer takes Bless off the board, and now it's gonna be all up to LeBronzo. Diffuser's cold, vertical pressure is there, and a 1v3 that's gonna be difficult to deal with.
Again, great vertical hold here coming out from Envy. I mean, look at this. The Azamis upstairs locked into the bedroom. Kiba's up, so really no chance for that team to be able to try and clear her out of that spot. No Deimos in hand to be able to put that pressure up, but honestly, with 3 of the Envy defenders left alive, not much you could do at that point. It was crazy. It was a bit of a quick execute. It did not work against the pros. So Miami Heat's going to have to try something different, and like Envy here has been rotating through the sites. We saw Kitchen Bar, Basement, Kitchen 2F, the site rotation. So they're spreading this defense out, getting to try a little bit of everything here. Again, this is one of the first tournaments we've seen this particular 5-stack, this iteration together. And Envy is just prepping, getting themselves ready for the inevitable Challenger Series coming up post-SI.
Ooh, Challenger Series. I can already feel the excitement starting to buzz. Last time we went through that, Team Envy gains themselves a Pro League stack from T2. Who's going to be next up on the list this time? I'm really excited for that. But you got to get through SI, and to do that, you got to get through this best of 3 started. Envy ties it up 2-2, and this time they're going to go up to the second floor. And you were talking about it, Run. Chalet, one of those, not specifically super unique, but still a little bit niche maps where you can have all 4 sites be a viable option to hold on. So now they head up to the 2F. They bring out some pace setters of Castle on the board, Goyos to slow them down, Smoke as well. I mean, this is really a time towards defense.
Yeah, I mean, slow down the Heat. Obviously, that last round just showed how quickly they can and do like to execute sometimes. So, right, slow it down. That combination of the castle and double of the area denial, I think that's a great call. And look at that. Boy, I was gonna say, I thought Smink was done, dead. somehow survived this battle. He's got almost no health left, but manages to find Packer using that DMR from long range. Puts us in a 4v3 scenario pretty early. I mean, yeah, they're not waiting around at all, round after round.
Get in and get active. Silo on the double now. Man advantage. That body balance tipped back into the hands of the Heat. And honestly, just really so much time to play with right now. Shots from the roof is going to see some pressure onto Piano, but nobody worse to wear for that one. But it does reveal a location. We now know that JJ is kind of in and around that area. So a focus for an isolation here, all on the backside. They're going to get some drones in and start pushing up. Start claiming some of that space. One smoke bay left in hand for that denial. 121.
Man, the kills just start ringing out. But I mean, overall, Ivan left in Piano, the last guy, but that's the plant going down. He's gonna take a shot up on the roof. Goes in. No way, he gets that!
Ivan, crazy. Not crazy enough. Squid's gonna take him off the board.
Okay. Man, what a play from the Heat. And continues the back and forth battle. 1 for 1 for 1 at this point. No one even picking up 2 rounds in a row as each of these teams adapting to the way that the other is playing. You take a look at that kill count, right? There's no one that is being the absolute standout. No individual heroics carrying either of these teams forward. Solid team effort, strategic siege. This is exactly what we want to see going into finding out who is going to be that team that makes it to the SI last chance closed qualifier coming up here in January. And, so far, I couldn't pick it either, right? Neither one of these teams has shown that they are going to absolutely win this best of 3. And I love that it's this close.
Yeah, me too, especially because this one feels special because it's the homies playing, right? I mean, for the Siege double shot, we've been casting, 2.5 years, 2 years, 3 years, something like that. And all of these players have had different impactful parts of streams that we have been in. So it just feels like this is the homie stack versus the homie stack. And it's hard to put a bias on that.
Yeah, and the fact that you've got no Pro League implications here yet, but it's just foreshadowing for what is going to happen come Challenger League time. So, as we've been watching the rest of the games play out this whole weekend, I love that that Mute hasn't taken the big hit that I think we were originally thinking with the change in the way that his gadget was operating. I was a little worried being a Mute main that we might see him drop off, but I think still brings a ton of value. And right now, Packer and Envy feeling that same way. We've seen a lot of Mute continue to be played. Just still good at managing the intel piece of it. And I thought maybe we might see a little bit more of, the roam clear operators come out, but I think that's why Envy banned out the dope beat, just to make that piece just a little bit more difficult for the attackers to figure out how far away they're playing from sight.
You know what's good about this Mute rework is, like, at this competitive level where all of the teams are being good, it hasn't really changed the way that you play it, right? Because you're at this level, you're not going to be playing Mute as your only breach denial, right? Maybe as a secondary option, and maybe it is part of the strat sometimes, but as a whole, not going to really be the factor. You want to know what it did do, though? It stopped banning the ace as your absolute first ban, right? Now that he can get through those Mute jammers for whatever reason, and maybe we can ask Mint that the next time we're chatting, why that affected the operators this way. But yeah, Mute's still a viable option, still denying that intel, still brings an SMG and 11 and a shotgun, still has that C4. Mute mains rejoice because he's still here.
Oh, look at that pre-play C4 going off. Not gonna take down Silo. Just managed to take a little bit of his health away, but he's still left alive to try and fight this battle. I've been hanging out of those stairs, so they still have got good control, but have for the most part given up control of the office bedroom side again and moved over onto this midway point in the map to transition over from office through the hallway onto the library side. And it's a good library hold there from Envy. Got Ivan on the stairs, Rival in the mez, holding on above, and they need to hold that spot as long as they can.
All 5 still alive, even though a health advantage does sit in the hands, well, of nobody now. Rival gets smacked a little bit on his rotate back downstairs. But still, all 5 alive with 60 to go. This feels like this kill feed is going to absolutely light up once that 3-2-1 hits.
And it's pretty rare. We haven't seen that happen so far. For the most part, they've had a lot more interaction early. But look at that. The fire just barely touching JJ. And the first one to go down is Rival. 45 seconds left, my friend. Where's this attack going to come from? Looking like everywhere. But I don't think Rival's recovered. No.
Nope, he wasn't. He was ended up getting taken off the board, and now it's going to be the Lurk on Fireplace Stair to potentially come up with a kill here. It's the new DMR in hand, taking a look. So definitely sussed out that somebody's going to be sitting down there. They've got cams. They're holding on to it. Man advantage into the hands of the attack, but there it is. Ivan with a quick walk up. It's going to find aim key off the board, but a quick answer back twist. And Schmink able to find it. Man advantage huge now into the hands
no way!
Miami Heat. They're in a 1v3. Making an un-v3 is Schmink's just going to push in, take space, and find themselves another win.
Wow, the Glaz combo there to end it and sends Miami Heat into 2 in a row. Finally, we see one team start to have just a little bit of dominance. Envy, they managed to find 2 on the bar and the kitchen site, the 2 mid floors, but ultimately they fall round 6 into bar again. Miami Heat picks up that 4th attacking win, continuing the trend of being a little bit attacker-sided today. So how are we going to see this one change? What is Envy and Miami Heat going to ban out? Losing the Azami and the Capitao. That's interesting. I wonder whether or not Capitao and the added DMR, again, increases his utility to the point that he enters into the ban phase on more maps.
Honestly, I like that. But here's the one problem, right, for Miami Heat. They were able to get it done on the attacker side, on an attacker-sided map, and there's no, like, yeah, that makes sense. Here's the problem. They've been struggling a little bit on the defense, and with this roster not really playing fully together until SI quals here, this is where that gap will start to hit, right, is those defensive strats where you really got to be locked in with your comms, where you're holding those zones, where all the micro games go to. This is the part where Envy is probably going to start to thrive. Attacker side, very aggressive team. They're going to be in quick trying to take advantage of the newer put together Heat roster.
All right, honestly, looking forward to it. So what's the Miami Heat bringing out? Well, interestingly enough, if you don't ban the Cade and Bandit, Miami Heat is going to double up on it, bringing both of those Breach Denial ops, and then add in the area denial from the smoke. A lot of shotguns on the board as expected. This is, yeah, look at that. The Cade Claw down below in the basement to try and block off that main wall. The thing is, I was going to say, Thatcher makes that very easy now to identify. He is solo clearing the those electronic gadgets. You don't need to have the IQ to figure out exactly where the Cade Claw is. But they're not going to run him. Going to leave him on the sideline. Going to opt for the hard breach. Man, and then the combination. I love the Mike W pick of the Brava. Love that interaction. So we've seen Chalet as one of those maps where she is just incredibly useful.
And could go huge here, right? 4 out of 5 operators can be affected by that clutch drone and stuff that they could take, specifically pointing out that Malusi, right? Those Banshees just being devastating to any team that's trying to do something incredibly quick. Made their way inside the building at least. Deimos and Ivan have one above and one below currently. We're going to start to see some drones in and suss out where these defenders are sitting at. The first minute is done, so most of that intel and in what Intero has dubbed the discovery phase has been sussed out.
As that first minute of gameplay ticks down, yeah, we thought they might be super aggressive in the way that they played this one out, but they've been moving relatively slow. They do have complete control over on that library Mez side, and with Ivan taking down Silo, that is a huge pick. Not going to be able to bandit trick it all on this main wall, but they do have to manage to deal with this electricity. They've got the Malusi. She's holed up on the side of the piano here, and look, they're going to try and send double, and Ivan wins that battle.
Game sense was there, just was not quite able to complete that swing as Ivan was able to just punch in and take him off the board. Man advantage now is doubled up as they do find that first trade. Mike W to take Twish, Schmick to answer back. Schmick yet again onto the double, good for a multi-kill, but it's not going to be enough because on the other side of it, Packer and Ivan are still there to shut it down.
Wow, well played on the NV side. You said that they were going to come out swinging on attack. Man, they certainly pulled it off. What a round here for this team. Good clear upstairs. They managed to just isolate that defense into a small area and then collapse. He got their work cut out for them. Still in a best of 3. It's map 1 of the best of 3 if you're just joining us. We have got ClubHouse and Consulate to follow, the 3 C's of the maps today.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
This is just the first. What is going to be a great open qualifier game.
Heck yeah, and I just want to say while we're getting into this, appreciate everybody hanging out, the subs and the follows. We did end up hitting our 7,500th follower yesterday, which is a huge milestone for us here at the Double Shot, so we just appreciate all of you guys being a part of that one. And of course, anybody that's over there watching on Mint stream, just a special shout out to the Mint Julep themselves, the whiskey and mint combo. We appreciate you guys hanging out here as well.
Absolutely. Thanks for everybody being a part of it, man. Love the fact that we're getting to watch this game being played out. You know, it's not often we talk about it, getting to see the T2 versus T1. That only happens in Challenger Series for the most part until now. Getting to watch the SI Open qualifiers. So, man, as it comes down to it, still too close to call. Still too close to call, my friend. We're going to use that Impact EMP, not bring out the Thatcher again, but honestly, Doe could be just a little bit OP at this point. Twist playing super aggressive on the defense. He gets hit! Oh, no way.
Man.
Twist.
Able to just push in there, and that's huge because that takes that vertical game down run. That was a big part of what was going to be that push.
That's wild. What a play that we got to see from this one. Just taking down the playing super aggressive on that fireplace main door. I mean, you know, just having the man, just I'm surprised that they're wanting to push that hard outside, take those chances. Miami Heat is not a bad team, or Envy is not a bad team. Just going to take those extra chances feels like it's giving something away, but I mean that's why they're the pros, or soon to be pros.
Well, here's the fun part of it, Run. It's the history here, right? This isn't Anki going up against, you know, a T1 stack that is this feared thing. This is a known quantity. He's played JJ his entirety of T2, and so some of these things, you know, these players know they can get away with a little bit of a run out. They know that, you know what, hey, Rival's gonna push this with his Ram every single time. He used to do it against me in the scrims here, and here. So you know what? Why don't I just be ready for that? And that's what makes this game so fun, is the known quantity in the amateur level for both of these teams.
I love it, my friend. As we're seeing this Miami Heat defense again, I mean, Silo, they still running that Cade. They got this thing, what felt like it was on lockdown, but they're pinging out a couple of these gadgets, finding where those are at. I was going to say, I love that Velcam downstairs, and Packer just punishes Silo for it. Thought maybe we were going to see that gadget come in handy, but nope, not going to work here. Sitting at a 4v4 in that final 30 seconds. Get ready for the execute.
Couple of shots, the smokes ring out towards blue. They're going to drop the hatch and immediately put themselves in a place to get a plant down, and they're going to claim the man advantage by 2. Schmink yet again going to continue his KD forward as Bless able to find Packer off the board, and that just falls apart for the attacking team. 7 seconds, they get in and they start going for a plant. Bless could disrupt this, but he's going to have to get through 1 or 2 first, and it's going to be retake city here. He's got one known quantity sitting into that hallway. They've breached that thing open.
Oh, no way!
He's going to find that kill. He's looking for a second, and he almost was rewarded with it, but Mike W. will not be denied. Mike W. for president, and Mike W. for the clutch.
Man, what a play, although that came so close. What a game we've got on our hand as Envy ties this thing up, winning 2 in a row, matching the Miami Heat's. I mean, their play there at round 5 and 6. Basement first floor on lockdown. Envy playing just a little bit more aggressively than the Heat and winning those ones when it came down to it. Also off the back of a post plan, so they're going for the objective-based gameplay. On top of it, Miami Heat is going to have to make some adjustments here on this defense or risk falling on map 1.
Attackers need to
I love that
locate
we're
and
tied up here.
defuse bombs.
I love it. You just can't write the script any better. Everybody's following the script beautifully. Tied up, post half, 4-4. It doesn't get any better than this. Bar Gaming going to be our next side of battle here, Run. And this time, Schmink's going to bring out the Clash, which we've seen out of these guys before. Really great at slowing down and makes it not necessarily a huge important part to grab that deployable for blue, right? You can have that moving deployable instead. Deploy Schmink to where that battle is happening. And if it happens to be for that top of blue control, well, Schmink can be there in a hurry.
Checking to see how much setup are they going to have over on that office bedroom side. This is a place that we saw Packer try and play off just a little bit and go for that angle, go for that a little bit of a lurk. Is Miami going to have sort of that same style? But looks like no, they're very much focused on the library side of the map. And then one downstairs in the basement. I mean, Silo on the flank. He's playing the bandit. He's got one of those bandit charges. Going to see whether or not NB goes to try and push him out of that position. Or are they going to sort of leave him alone and just waste a little bit of time downstairs before they make that final execute? Oh, there it is. They are going for this shot.
Yeah, you have to, right? He sits with a C4 in hand, and it was almost rewarded the last time they played this Bar Gaming, where they had the pre-placed C4. This time, they've got a body there to do the damage as well. But he's sussed out. They're going to put some pressure onto him.
He's going to run out, too!
And that's going to force him to just get up and active, and instead, what does that mean? That means run back out main lobby again. That's what that means for Silo.
No way. Wow, they're just playing this ultra-aggressive run-out strategy against this Envy attack that I don't know whether or not they're sort of not expecting that rank-style play, but man, well played on the Miami Heat side to take those chances in controlled, in careful ways, right? Not throwing bodies away in this case, but taking calculated risks. And man, calculated risks is what is going to win you games.
Yeah, speaking of calculated risks, just for those who don't quite know as well, the DMR, the new one, not banned out. It is said use with caution, because if you do get a crash because you were using the DMR, there is no rehost available. So use at your own discretion. Just know that there are consequences, that if it does bug out, you don't get to use that thing. So no, new DMR in play, my friends.
I'm still honestly a little surprised that the teams would
Attackers
take
bomb
the
diffuser
risk
has
at this
been
point
dropped.
to use it, considering the crashes that are possible. But you know what? When it comes down to it, you got the option to play Nook with the DMR. You know what? Run it, man. Take that risk. A calculated risk once again. Seems like it's working so far. Again, tied up game between these two. Map 1 of the best of 3. Really, again, doesn't feel like either team having a significant advantage one way or another, nor one particular player coming out as that absolute standout. I was going to say Twist and Schmink sitting there at almost the double digits apiece, but Silo's trying to catch up as well, as now we get into a 1v4.
A 1v4, let's make it a none v4. That Clash that we talked about as being that option for the deployable at the top of blue comes up huge. They're able to hold on to that, and Heat, yet again, they're going to put themselves in a good position for that match point scenario, Run.
The good news for Envy here is it's a best of 3, so unlike LFO, they're not going to go down in a single round. But that was a good one played out. Even though the mirror was banned by Envy, we were talking about this yesterday, and heard the pros talking about it during the NAL. The Clash sort of is that mobile mirror, right? Gives you a lot of the same options, the same abilities that you get with the mirror, except for able to walk around, posted at the top of those blue stairs, a big significant piece of why Miami Heat manages to find another. So the bans come out, going to lose the Cade, going to lose the Brava. I think that makes it a little bit more difficult for the Heat to try and block off some of those walls. And because they've been finding interesting places for the Cade claws to go, I think that's just wasted time that Envy has had to deal with. So I think that's a great ban. Bandit is definitely a little bit more predictable, even if he's easier to trick with.
All right. Fenrir are going to make their way onto the board as well. Somebody that we've seen so much, at least in day 2 of Qual 1. I like it, still leaning into that slow down strat. I think the big fun one for me here, Run, is JJ put himself onto the Aurora. We've seen some really fun uses of that operator, denying some of those critical space, and allowing you a little bit of safety when you're going to get a wall open or something like that. So I like that that's on the board. Good adaptation by Envy. One away from a match point scenario. You know that they're feeling the...
Man, the Heat Jotes just writing themselves all day at this
I'm
point.
the worst. I'll see myself out, bro.
Oh, but there it is. Twist going down early. Twist at Envy getting taken down by his former team, and a little bit of chat coming out. Classic JJ here in the all chat. But right now, man, Rival just making quick work of all of this defensive utility with the Twitch drone, clearing it out. God, all chat is just on fire right now. Same as the Heat.
Heyo. Locked up here in Trophy. Gonna try to get active towards potential folks being well,
there it is.
Get active at all.
Yes.
Actually, Claymore is gonna end that run before it started, and with that, that's gonna be Envy putting themselves up by 3 in the man advantage and in a real good position to tie this bad boy right back up.
Envy adapting to the calculated risk that the Heat was taking and go for a Claymore to try and protect that piece of it. You know what? Change up the play style, and that works. Bless is going to go for 1 as well, giving his position away, staying outside the window. Nah, that's crazy, bro. Look at this. He managed to find one, taking down Mike W, but in a 1v4 with the defuse going down.
A little bit of damage done, but they're going to go ahead and be able to stick that. Bless not going to be able to live up to his namesake just yet, but he is going to need a blessing to get through this 1v, and it's not going to happen. It's a curse as Ivan rings out, and I just want to point out in the chat, very funny comment. Challenger Series will be after OCL, before GNL, and when Xenon Season 9 starts. Just nailed it in one, Xer. Nailed it in one.
The Mr. Pang aura coming out there. Tied up 5-5. Man, what a battle we've got on our hands. This is just fantastic. I love the fact that Envy adapted there, taking advantage of Miami, being a little bit over-aggressive. You know what? Punish them for it. Find those right angles. And just continue to streak that. It feels like, you know, we've moved into that mid-floor sites being the better ones overall. And that second floor being more difficult for the defense to manage. So Envy showed up in a big way on round 10. Tied this thing up, man. What a game we got on our hands.
Yeah, and you knew it would be. You begged for it, you hoped for it, and your prayers have been answered. Both teams on the precipice of claiming that first match point scenario. And this feels like the big win here for Heat, right? This is a map that you're kind of needing to take. Not only is it, I believe this was Heat's map pick, right? But not only is it your map pick, but this is the one that Team Envy struggled on yesterday when they were playing against Kraken Seas. So, you know, this is where you first saw that flaw in the armor that you were able to take your death shot at.
Whew, man, flaws. That's the question. Is there going to be any more flaws? Are we going to see one of the team take advantage of the mistakes being made? I mean, generally very few overall, and just good siege being played across the board. Combination of inventive and a little bit of fundamentals coming out. But man, there it is. His get back twist takes down a rival, and he's now gets the opening pick rather being the guy subjected to it. So well played there from Twist to answer back. What's now a Miami Heat up in that 5v4 scenario as that first minute of gameplay gone.
I love those opening engagements, and it just keeps ringing back and forth. Neither team really afraid to take the swing. This time, rival pays the price for it, and that's a big one. That's your vertical done and dusted. Which means now defense just got to hold on, kind of rely on that trade game, and Envy's in a bit of a reassessment mode at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, losing that vertical piece is certainly a big loss, as now you need to try and push your way down, and you still got Twist holding upstairs on this second floor, plus Silo on the library as well. I mean, this is a big vertical piece that huge lurk opportunity. The question is, could Envy read into that, go for maybe a little bit of a site direct, try and take down the players holding down directly in the basement? Feels like they want to try and clear this top floor as a result, but man, Ivan's just walking off, heading back downstairs. Maybe they are going to try a site direct.
Well, they've got some opportunities for it. Thatcher's going to open up that avenue into trench as well. Now go work on that snowmobile side, and that's one of the good parts about this new Thatcher thermite rework. He's got 3 of them now. That just makes him an opening machine, especially when you get to maps where, like ClubHouse and things like that, where we'll be seeing our next match go to, where, you know, you kind of bring that double hard breach to combat that sort of lack of opportunities to open things up. So potential to start seeing those thermite bans ringing out more than the aces coming up. Quick answer back. Mike, W, and Packer both able to find Schmeek and Bless off the board. That's going to equalize on the number count, but there is bees galore now as they're trapped down into the closet. Packer able to take Twist. That means it's now into a 3-2, but time is starting to run down. Malusi Gadget does ring out as they know that it's coming in from that blue area, and it's going to be Packer onto the triple kill. Mike W to clean it up onto Silo, and that's a match point scenario.
Envy's the first one to pull it off. Tied up 5-5 game. Envy downstairs in the basement on attack. Man, just shuts down the Heat. I got the sights opened up, got the sight lines they needed. And I know I was thinking with the thermite rework, we would see more thermite bans come out across the board because of how that extra exothermic really opens up the possibilities. And the fact that the Mute Jammer a little bit less effective against the ace. I thought that might change the balance of power, but the third just feels like that's too strong.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
You leave my thermite alone. Well, I like the third. I like the third extra charge, and I want it. We keep it. You know what? We're gonna nerf anything. Let's take away a cam from Valkyrie. That feels better.
It feels like it's been years since we talked about the Nerf Valk campaign that Whiskey Glitter had tried to run against the community, but
I never gave it up. Valk is nerfed in my heart for sure. All right, Run. Match point. The heat is on, as you would say. Defense needs to come up big to take this one to OT, or they're going to lose their map pick to Envy. They've got some slowdown here. Clash back on the board. Smoke to make sure you can't get in just some of those areas quicker. It'll be a little bit of a hurry up and wait here for Envy as they're hoping to catch one off guard on the rotate. Cut short too soon.
When we take a look at where it did Miami Heat defense win a round, it was back on round 9 in the bar side. So this feels like their strongest defensive site at this point and their best opportunity to send this thing to overtime. And the way the round count works out, that's where they get it. Oh, so this feels like the best place Miami Heat can find this defensive win, but you can see those NB players are crawling all over the outside of this building at this point. No real defensive setup over on the office bedroom side, with only Schmink playing that mezzanine, looking in, trying to make sure that no one from that attacking team is able to really gain a real stronghold. JJ is going to go for opening up some of that wall, get some of this site control, or some of this top floor control. Schmink just looking out. 12-6-2, having a hell of a game here.
Well, now going to start opening up towards where Clash is sitting and holding. Silo at that half HP is going to try to slow that process down just a little bit more, but it's going to be some shots from the roof. Put some pressure onto Clash and force him back to that mezzanine area. Still alive though, Run. 60 seconds looming here. And all 5 still alive. This is going to be a bloodbath when we start to get started.
Man, on match point, Miami Heat has got to absolutely lock in. Right now, it feels like they're just baiting everything in. Envy taking it just a little bit slow. You can see the util dump coming out, but look at this, blocking off the mezzanine upstairs so they can put pressure directly on the blue stairs. Packer's going to open it up. Ivan, number 2.
Double kill on Ivan. They're going to put pressure now onto Rooney, who's last alive, and they're going to bring out the pistol for some body-dropping, pistol-popping action. Envy comes away with it, and you know what? That last round looked easy, right? That last one just was Team Envy pushing in, taking space, punch him in the face, and there it went.
Congratulations there to Team MB. 7-5 victory as they pick up map 1, which sends us into ClubHouse, my friend. And overall, super happy with both of the way that these teams played out, Chalet. It could have honestly gone either way, all the way up until the very end. Envy showed just a little bit more of that tenacity there to finish out the map, but Miami Heat held on the entire way. The closest game that we got to see between any of the teams so far in this in the LCQ. We hadn't seen any overtime games on our channel as part of the NV roster. I don't think we got to see hardly any of games go even to all 12 rounds in basically the whole bracket for the most part. So this was a very close game between the two, and you know what? That's what we wanted coming in to decide who gets to make it to closed.
Yep, now we get to have some fun with fundamentals as ClubHouse comes up next. The map where good teams go to die will run. I ask you, what if they're both good?
Then we got a battle on our hands, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Sit back, relax, because when we come back, we're going to get started with the second map. Ayo.
Let's go.
Teams to win.
What's up, and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. It was a bit of a nail-biter on map number 1. Heat had the lead, attacker side at Chalet, but in the end, MV closes it out, and they are one map closer to heading towards those closed. Run. It was a close one. ClubHouse could feel that same way, although MV looked incredible on it yesterday.
It's one of these maps that we got a chance to talk to Aimkey and the whole Akron roster a lot during the Butler LAN. And one of the things that they like to do was force teams to play fundamental siege. They're very good at that style. Ban the cheese ops, force teams to play, open up breaches, open up, manage the breach denial piece of it, and play fundamental siege. They feel very comfortable playing that style. So does Envy. We're going to see a very big clash between these two teams. And it's going to be a question mark for me. Are we going to force teams into fundamental siege or play the cheese ops, play very, the attacker util side with Yings and Grims coming out to just cause chaos in sight? Honestly, this could go either way. And both teams have got something that they want to hide, right? Don't give away all your strats coming up into close, because at the end of this, you still have to do battle with Dark Zero, Oxygen, and Cloud9, and the winners of both the elements this year in order to find that SI open qualifier spot. So still 4 pro teams left into this battle. And right now, Miami Heat has got to take down Envy if they want to be that one and force a third map. Envy now 1 map away from punching their ticket to the closed qualifier.
Yeah, absolutely. So before it's getting started, while they're finishing getting in the lobby, yet again, we just want to say thanks for hanging out on our push towards Twitch partner. You guys have been absolutely essential, and we appreciate every single person watching, and that includes the Mint and Dreams streams. We appreciate you guys all hanging out with us here as well.
Yes.
And kind of wondering who you going for, right? I feel like Dream has got himself in that T1 mind frame, and Mint's going, hey, we want the underdog story here. LeBronzo descended. It's got to be a fight back and forth.
I love the fact that we're living in a world where either one of those possibilities, there's people that are going to be happy on both sides of it, and it's not the end of the line for either. But, my friend, it's time for Chalet.
I think it's time for
ClubHouse. Jeez.
Oh. Okay, let's get into it. ClubHouse, you heard us talk about it. It is the map where good teams go to die. It is incredibly fundamental, incredibly default. But there has been some kind of change up to how some of these operators are being played now, right? So a potential to see some new strats coming out right now. Thermite, no question there that we're going to see him banned off the board, as he can be one of those solo breachers now, able to open up everything. But one of the other fun things, Run, that we haven't really talked about yet is when we get up to that gym bedroom site, one of the accepted operators that you see all the time is the Castle. And Castle has a new change with him where now he can get those electro claws and take down any sort of electronic gadget trying to breach those things. I'm wondering if that's going to come into play. We haven't really seen that yet here through this last chance qualifier, so maybe something new and inventive on ClubHouse could be in our future.
Now, we get to see Envy played out ClubHouse twice yesterday. Their opening match versus Reno Skyline, and then later versus the Wild Boys Wise team at the end of that quarterfinal game. So, and both of them were huge Envy victories. They won 7-2 and then 7-1 in succession on those two matches. So we didn't get to see an awful lot of the cross strats for this team because they were just so darn good on this map. Certainly Miami Heat and LeBron is a significantly, I think, better team that we've got so far versus those two that they had that played yesterday. So a bit more of a challenge coming out. But here's the question. Who is it going to be? And look at that. Miami Heat on the defense have taken a double run out on round one for pressure on the Envy attack, and just shows that, you know what, they are unafraid and continuing to bring that confidence into this map.
That's how you're going to beat Envy, right? It's not going to be because your strategy is insane. It's not going to be because your gun mechanic skills are that much better. No, it's going to be in those off positions. It's going to be those really aggressive plays where, yeah, maybe we're doing 1, 2, or 3 runouts at one time. One of them connects man advantage hat. At this time, during that one, of course, they found themselves kind of both taking a little bit of damage. Nobody coming out the better for that one. But one of the fun things about this run, during those bans, because we went breach denial, that does leave both the Azami and the Mira on board, and of course, both going to be brought now.
Yeah, both left available. Run it, my friend. Playing downstairs in the basement. So Mike W taking a little bit of caution here, watching there. We watched the defender. He couldn't see it, obviously drop back down the hatch, freeing him up to be able to put some pressure on that kitchen side. But man, that C4 comes out, and JJ playing that, god damn it, I was gonna say perfectly, right up until Silo punishes him for it as he continues to back off. That was just well played by Silo in the dirt tunnel, taking down JJ and the Blackbeard. Man, what a turn of events that was to start this thing off.
No kidding. Yeah, Spearhead gone. That's a huge first pick, especially because, you know, that's going to be one of your entry points. Good night, sleep tight. Does find that man advantage into the hands of the defense, and now can start to rest on that trade game. Warden with his special goggles on, waiting for those flashes that are inevitably going to come, and they don't. Ivan says, you know what, how about instead I fake you out and I just push up instead. He takes the kill onto Silo. Flames start to ring out. Rival's able to take Bless off the board as aim key responds. The shotgun in hand is not going to be denied against Rival. Now into a 2-2
Twist.
or 2-1 as Twist is able to find it. 35 seconds as they push up. Ivan onto the triple, but Schmeek there to capitalize. Headshot. Good night.
God, trade back and forth. I mean, other than Ivan picking up a triple there, I don't think there was anyone that really was dominant over the course of that entire round. That honestly could have gone either way, and it came down to it. Miami Heat on defense, a couple big plays to set this thing up. One, the runouts early, putting pressure on the attacking team, right? Slow the attack down. Watch, Mike W. wasn't even really pushing up into, to try and open up the hatches in the kitchen until we were more than a minute in, because they were a little worried about the defense playing very aggressively on those doors and windows. Second, the battle in the tunnel with JJ and the shield going down. Silo played that thing perfectly. Those two set up a Miami Heat defensive win here to start this thing off. It was a basement on ClubHouse, so I'm not surprised. Envy's run is certainly not over.
All right, well, here's that gym bedroom. No castle on board, though. So we're going to see, well, obviously, I mean, the Mira's left alive, so definitely going to be bringing that out. And a little bit of that long hold from Twist onto the Azami as well, which means extension going to be a little bit easier. Honestly, man, it's not a bad defense. They don't have that denial, so wall's a foregone conclusion. But this time run, they got to do it with Havana and the can openers as well. So can openers of Grim as well, which can be a little bit dicey when you start to try to make that push in, right? Can openers making you potentially get a vault going on. It's smaller, you don't have as much visibility, so still a little bit tougher. But also, that Habana has a change. Did pick up the new DMR as you're seeing in hands right now, but also no reloading those X-Kairos anymore. So getting quick with the Habana, now an option.
Yeah, I think that's a good change too. I think it was just a little bit too slow compared to how fast Ace could manage. So again, it really forced teams into running the Ace consistently, constantly. So I think it's certainly a revive on Hibana, but I mean, she's just so good on this map. In particular, that little bit of a buff makes it just even more attacker-sided. Envy looking to capitalize on that for this one. You take a look at where the Miami Heat defense is playing, though. I'm just going to say, look at that, taking some shots through the floor. They're a little bit spread out. Bless the highlight. Chase is downstairs, holding onto the basement, waiting for the lurking. Does Envy realize they have nobody in the basement currently looking for him?
Dean Candles go off as the push up towards Red starts to ring out. They're going to try to make the rotate on him, but he's going to be able to get out of there with relative ease, and the key barriers are going to slow that process down just a little bit more as well. So half the round gone. Does see us no one worse to wear for any engagement so far. Just getting rid of drones, getting rid of intel, and getting ready for that 3-2-1.
Interesting. They didn't have anybody covering the top of the hatch, but look at this. Feels like this Ivan is just absolutely nailing the kitchen hold right now that the Heat has, and they're going to get punished for this. Oh, but he's not in a position to be able to take the shot directly. He's going to have to open up the window, give the position away, and allow Miami Heat to make some changes and rotate. Envy feels like they're moving a little bit slow at this point. You're talking about 45 seconds, all 10 left alive, and still players holding onto the first floor.
Well, there you go. You asked for it, and JJ's going to give it to you. Silo goes down. Mike W to follow. JJ onto the double now as Ivan is also able to claim one. Candelo's going to ring out and cause some of that disruption. Now look towards that main stairs where they're both kind of locked off, and he shoots the
No way!
What a shot! Bless going to take Rival's headpiece off, but that's going to be that post-plant scenario now. TK rings out as Ivan rips Packer off the board. Does take us into a 2-2, but this is a tough scenario. Right now you've got a kind of a lockdown on the hallway, which means you got to get through a little bit of a gauntlet to get to where the diffuser is at, specifically going in towards Logi. Bless is able to take Ivan off the board, and now it's all going to be up to JJ to try to bring this one back in this 1v2. And he's only got a couple of seconds in which to hold out, and you know what? He's just going to do it. You know what? JJ's just going to go ahead and clap them both. Good night, sleep tight.
I mean, honestly, it felt like a little bit of a mistake on the defense there, right? Nobody putting pressure on on him from the construction side, so they managed to take down the player in Logi. So you only have the construction side hold, and they look like through the door that JJ's looking through. It looked like it was uncoordinated. They're running around, crossing in front, and jaywalking in front of that door and punished for it as they line up in a 2-for-1 scenario. Right? Whether or not it was run out on highway, try and maybe rotate through the Logi side, split up to be able to put the cross on him. I know they didn't have a lot of time, but jaywalking in front of that door, clearly not the way they wanted to manage it. And NV takes advantage, punishes Miami Heat for making a little bit of a mistake. Ties this up again, my friend.
All right. Well, Castle going to be on the board this time. No Cade Claw, though, to see those electrify. Looking towards that extension downstairs, which has become all too familiar for the turf site. Castle to hold on to Swamp, denying any sort of vertical pressure from the stock area. Denying pressure from that garage to force your catwalk player off. It's just another layer that you have to get to when trying to take garage, which is one of those critical push points, if that's the way you go. Too linear of a push, and you'll find yourself stymied. Too spread out, and the defense can capitalize. This is a fun turf site.
Yeah, Rival.
Always in that opening engagement. It just doesn't matter where it's at. He is in that process.
Yeah, holds on. It takes the shot onto that main wall, looking out over the motorcycles, and just well played there from Rival to expect the aggression there from the defense and then punish them for it. They managed to get one piece of this wall open. Not going to be able to get all of it. I was going to say, was he going to go for the impact trick? But no, they have opened a very small hole in that wall. It's looking like Swiss cheese at this point as the attackers are in play to hold it now. Interesting that he's running that DMR one more time. It feels like, again, taking a bit of a risk, but calculated.
Calculated. Is this Rocket League?
It's certainly not math class. I mean, you know what? Run the gun you brung. Let's see it happen.
There it is. Okay, so Silo was taken off the board. That's a main advantage over to Envy. Still plenty of time in which to work. Taking a couple of shots towards that garage area. Man, hello? Who you challenging, Mike W? Aim key able to take that from the catwalk, and that's going to equalize on the number count.
Honestly, I thought that Mike W wins that battle. He just ran out of bullets, and Aim Key was there ready to punish him for it. And no one on the other side pushing the garage door at the same time to sort of distract him, turn his attention, maybe free his elbow up from looking over on that side. Unfortunate the way that one played out, but look at this again. Feels like a coordinated attack to clear out garage, and they pull it off. Packer's the one that takes down Bless, puts us in a 4v2, making this look very good here for this Envy team with 55 seconds left. Tons of assets still in play. Couple of flashes, 4 of them in fact, just ready to just util dump on this Miami Heat defense.
That's exactly what's going to happen, too. So C4 going to be one of those big factors. Does end up getting droned out, takes both of them off now. They know that location. Stuck into the corner, and this is where we saw one of those issues just in this previous round. Not able, or running across a doorway and losing your life because of it. JJ does go down. Numbers get a little bit closer to being equalized here. So defense has just got to hold on for 21 more seconds. One smoke canister still in hand, so going to be able to deny, but it's not in the right spot.
4 goes out.
Red.
He gets one.
Out. They find it. Huge play. Packer now. Kill list so far needs to be good. Perfect for 2 in round number 3, and he's not going to get it done because there's a shotgun answer waiting for him right on the other side of the doorway.
Man, that play at the top of red, insane, and goes all Miami's way, even though he's basically triple flashed at the top of the red. The C4 that goes down finds its mark. Huge. Helps to swing that in the Miami Heat favor. Man, that early pick on Mike W and then the red stairs play just sealed the deal for them. And again, back and forth battle as we've gone 1 for 1 for 1 heading into the start of the second quarter. So who are the bans going to happen? What's going to change up? Yeah, for sure. Take down the Hibana. I mean, now all 3 of the hard breachers are done, forcing Envy into only using can openers, and that feels like a good play at this point because Hibana had been putting in the work, and if Mike W hadn't gone down in that battle with Aim Key early, certainly it would just making Swiss cheese out of that main wall.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
All right, relying on the old potential Mav trick coming in, although I think that was also something that got patched, right? With this last go through, can't Hibana trick or Mav trick the walls anymore. We'll have to get clarification on that one.
You can trick the wall. It forces Mav into opening the entire bottom and top of the wall. You have to take down the entire reinforcement at the top and the bottom rather than just the supports. So that was the change. You can still open the wall, but it takes a little bit more time and a little bit more precision on the part of Maverick to make that happen.
Interesting. Okay. So still going to be leaning into probably more of that can opening.
I mean,
All
they
right,
brought
speed
along
being the enemy here.
Yeah, they brought along 4 of them here to try and get that done, and did not bring along the Mav, so they want to settle on using the can openers as that primary mechanism, because even if you're able to Mav trick some of this stuff up, obviously on this site, opening up the hatches is the priority, and they're going to be able to do that, but I know it does feel like, somebody mentioned in the chat, a little bit slow from the execute strategy here from the Envy side. Part of that, though, I think, is Miami continues to play pretty aggressively on defense in terms of running out and putting pressure on the attackers across the board, right? They're not bunkering back down and allowing the executes to happen. That's where I think Envy would really be showing some promise. But I mean, you take a look, Twist is still up in garage. Aimkey's still running the lounge stairs, holding on all the way up on 2F. They're very spread out. That is going to force Envy into clearing a lot more space and make those executes feel slower.
Absolutely, and if you start to see that pressure continue from the heat, the runouts and stuff, even if you're not connecting, what does that do? It forces you to slow down. It forces you to get a drone into that window. It forces you to get intel on potentially where the defense is at before you start moving, because every single doorway could be a doorway of death. JJ finds a nade. That's going to relegate Aim Key to the camps. No C4 to be had to answer back, and a man advantage over to Envy.
Yeah, great play. We were just talking about how Aimkey was upstairs on that second floor. One of the guys that was roaming around, causing a little bit of havoc, hunted down and killed by the NV roster. And JJ sitting at 6-2, again having a great game. Right now it's Packer and Mike W struggling to get anything going. And that feels like that's holding this team back just a little bit. Still a little bit early here on map 2. And again, NV has got one map in this best of 3 already in pocket, so it's a must-win scenario for the Miami Heat. Feels like a little bit more pressure on this team.
Yeah, Mike can be a slow start. Right, one thing that you can guarantee is he almost will always get himself back to that positive side of things. I mean, he is running for president, mind you. A lot of pressure on him. Still holding on to that man advantage. Going to start to see Goyo sussed out by the aforementioned presidential candidate himself. They're going to just start pushing in. Mike W is going to start going for the plan. Blackbeard has made his way in, took some pressure on the other side of it. Schmink's able to take Rival off the board in the trade.
Oh, what a shot!
Now with a Vector in hand, but able to be answered back yet again. JJ and Packer are both going to come up, and now it's going to be all up to Bless to try to bring this one back. But Packer and that new DMR, they're going to find the mark.
Yeah, we called out Packer, said he needed to find his shot, needed to come up big here, and he does it. Shows up when he needs to and puts Envy right back in it. Tied up 2-2, back and forth battle secured. And now that's Envy picking up a win on the basement. So now we've seen basement go each way. One attacker win, one defensive win. We're going to see how Jim Bedroom fares. This was previously an Envy win versus the Heat. This is when they got that plant down on top of the bedroom and that beautiful JJ double off the back of the Heat, looking a little uncoordinated. So right now they're locked in, feeling a little bit better. see whether or not they can pull off a win upstairs. And big question for me is, how much of a roam game here is the Heat going to run? Are they going to spread themselves all the way out? Big post up over on the Cash CC side of it? Or
Attackers
anyone
have
downstairs in
located a
the
bomb.
basement going for a lurk again?
The answer to that question for me is yes. You see both the Azami and the Castle on the board. Definitely means we're going to be playing some extensions here, right?
Okay,
We're going to have a
left
little bit of
insertion.
safety of the site being rebuilt, so to speak, by the architects. And yeah, that's going to allow us to play all the way over on the
Attackers are
Cash
heading out to
CC
defuse
TV
a
side.
bomb.
And you said this round was impactful, or this map was impactful for both Envy and LeBronzo. And why is that? Well, one will be taking their opportunity into the closed quals, and one will be taking that proverbial bus ride home. If Envy wins, they're moving on, and AIM's going to have to try it again in qual number 2.
Qual number 2 happened in December 10th. We're going to see the NAL Finals and the Element 6 Finals both taking place live on LAN in Philadelphia. Those need to happen before the Open Qualifier number 2 is going to happen, specifically because the Element 6 team that loses is going to have to play the Open Qualifier in order to win their spot, because the winner of E6 gets that spot for free. So big implications for either of the two teams waiting for that E6 final to happen.
Well, that's going to be relegated to the cams quite early on in round number 5. And they're going to try to send Warden in that same way, but he's got the safety of the Kiba barrier. Now, None Afraid is going to make that push up. A couple of pre-fires towards that garage side, but they're not going to quite see anything just yet. Candelas, though, they're going to start to get dicey as Mike W pushes in with the Reaper. Mike W dead again, 0-5 inside of. Rival now going to take Shmeek off the board, but even though Mike Dub is not finding the kills, Envy finds themselves with a man advantage. Up against Aim Key and Twist now to bring, well, up to Twist now to bring this one back. And he's got a lot of work ahead of him to do so. He's able to find Packer down, takes the shots on Red, and that's going to be the down onto Rival. Run, there's no diffuser in hand just yet, and that wasn't even sight. Now a huge rotate, the scenic route all the way back means he's got a little bit of room to work as they try to make this final push in. Couple of shots towards that head hole, looking for it.
Oh, he runs across the open door!
Now into a 2v1, jaywalking at its finest, and it's going to cost a life, and with 46 seconds left, could be huge. A shot towards construction, the big rotate around towards Logi. A pre-fire could save him here. He hits it, another triple kill. HP in a dream, and 35 seconds in which to live that dream. A huge big rotate, takes a quick pre-fire. It's a pistol, but Ivan's just gonna be better. Not enough health to get the job done, and an SMG-12 will end it.
The SMG-12. Oh man, there is so much conversation happening around that gun in ranked matches. Feels like everybody hates it, but man, Ivan freaking loves it. And Twist, an unbelievable round there for the Miami Heat, comes up short at the last second. But Envy up 1 round over the Heat. They go 3-2, and what a battle. That's the first time we're seeing Envy either team pick up 2 in a row. Damn. Hey, you know what? That wasn't the Heat playing it poorly. That just came down to the 1v1 at the end in order to end it. I mean, obviously, having such a low man count early certainly set up Envy for the win, put them in the best position. Twist tried his damnedest to keep them in it and got so close.
Man, my heart is absolutely pounding right now.
Attackers have discovered the location
A little
of the
bit
bomb.
more health, and that might have had a different storyline here for round number 5. 6 looms, 6 is here. It's going to be the triple threat of death here out of the defense. Right? One of the things that we've seen out of Envy is their aggression. And what do I mean by aggression? I mean, they are not worried about the spawn peaks. They are not worried about the swing or be swung mentality. They are not worried to 3-2-1 drop on anybody. So what does that mean? That means they're going to be fast. How do you combat that? You bring out the trio Legion of Doom in Enki, Schmink, and Silo, bringing out the Smoke, Tachanka, and the Goyo. Denial to its fullest, Banshees to back it up, and a little bit of cover out of Twist. This is a dig-in defense run. We'll see how it plays out.
I mean, for sure they need it, because so far Envy has picked up wins on both of the basement sites the time that have been played, back on round 1 and on round 4, so the Heat have not been able to successfully defend this site at all. The trio, though, of area denial could be that difference maker, and certainly, you know what, it's going to slow them down no matter what, but they've got to stay alive in order to make that happen. The question for me is, again, how big is the roam game are they going to play? We saw on that previous round, they had a little bit of a roam presence over on the Cache CC side where all that action was happening. Here, they've got basically nothing upstairs, and they're going to allow that hatch and kitchen to get open for free. No C4s on the board, and honestly, that is the big piece that's different here. You've got no way to deny any of this vertical play except for a pair of impact nades in Twist's hands. That feels like a bit of a miss here for this Miami Heat. I love the area denial, but no C4s. Oh, what a miss.
Disagree huge, right? Because what are they going to have to do? They're going to have to drop hatch. What do you not have to do? Keep playing right underneath hatch, right? That is a Mike W special. We watched him crush it out on bank with that under hatch play, but you can sit back. You can sit back and let your folks up top get the work in, and that's exactly what Twist is going to do. Rival goes down, man advantage to be had now to the defense, and honestly, they can just sit back and coast on area denial.
If you're a Miami Heat fan, I want you to be right about that. The problem is, you still have got this Envy stack in play. It's a 4v5. JJ still going crazy, and they still have got a ton of intel. He's already made it down into that church hallway. Just waiting to see. Yeah, there it is. Identifying where the defenders are hanging out at. The big question was, I mean, Twist had made that rotate back down. He is all the way back in sight. Mike upstairs trying to cover that long angle. Ivan picks up a big one versus Twist, taking down the hero of the previous round. And look at this, hiding in the corner as that is ready to plant to go down.
Now into a tough spot as it starts going down. That is going to be Silo to take one. Bless onto the Goyo charge to equalize onto the number counts. It's a post-plant scenario. Silo good for the double now as they find themselves in a 1v2. Mike W, who finally got his first kill onto the board, has got to be perfect for 2, and now he's got to deal with that fire as well. Looking towards the... Whoop, whoop. He's got one close, doesn't know that he's there, and Silo's on for the triple kill. All of a sudden, we find ourselves locked back up in a 3-3 split run.
Wow. No way. Plant goes down. Looks good for Envy. Miami Heat answers back in a big way. We said that the basement had not been won by the defenders once. They decided to change that stat at the last opportunity and close out that first half, tied up 3-3. Man, forever, you know what, destined to be locked in battle to the very end. The back and forth continues on. We get to see a 3-3 half. Damn, what a play here from both of these teams. You know what, small mistakes on either side, and they are ready and waiting for it. Got a couple of gunners on both sides of this map, and you know what? Today's the day to show up. Envy is sitting in a 1-map lead in this best of 3. So again, all the heat is on Miami Heat. They got to be on fire here to close out ClubHouse to send it to Consulate. Otherwise, Envy moves on and earns that spot and closed.
Well, here's the good part, right? If you're a Heat fan, you know that they are a wonderful attacking team. And they've proved it on several different map choices so far. ClubHouse can favor that sort of gameplay as well. But the thing is Envy on the defense, right? They've got some strats. They've had time together to formulate some synchronicity between everybody, some team bonding, and then when you're on defense on one of the most default maps, that can definitely start to favor the team.
All right, setting up for this basement defense. Doubling up on the area now with the Goyo and the Smoke. They're going to leave the Tachanka off the board, and Ivan's going to run the Scopos instead. You know what, this is one of those maps where it feels like Scopos has got a lot of utility. where 3 full floors and some opportunities there to put the idle shell hidden off to the side. We'll see whether or not he chooses to keep that idle over on the strip side as he's closing up some of those walls. You can put a little bit of pressure on the attackers as they come in and then make that quick rotate. Even if you take a little bit of damage, switch onto the idle shell and get that health boost back automatically. So I think there's a lot of bonus there for to run the Scopos. Doesn't get played all that often again as teams are still looking at what's the best way to work her into the strap. If you don't have the Kate or the Bandit available, the big one for me though is not running the Mira, even though she is available. Feels like a little bit of a miss, but look at this. Just absolutely going crazy as Silo runs the Blackbeard and punches way in to stage.
I love the strat of holding up top and keeping yourself a plan B to get back down to the side, but then you gotta deal with a spearhead, right? All of a sudden Silo's there, the pinch is in play, and you find yourself in a bit of a tough spot staying alive there. So yeah, man advantage over to Heat, and that's a big first way to start. It's explosive. It's punishing those mistakes, and unfortunately, those mistakes are coming from Mike W at the moment, who sits 1-7. My GOAT, I tell you, big Mike W fan, but we got to find a way to get that dude activated, and we could be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he was running Habana most of the time on the first half, so playing that hard support, doing his job, keeping Envy in it, but yeah, not being able to pick up more than 1 kill so far in 7 rounds is certainly a tough way to start it. Uncharacteristic of the President. Now, they've worked on opening up these sight lines upstairs. All of this defense, no, not bunkered back down. You still have got, oh yeah, they are all bunkered back down. All 4 of them holding down those power positions downstairs, but the Heart Breach is doing their job opening some of these sight lines up. Amki there holding down central stairs. The big hole into church looking to be potentially that point of entry. A zombie is locked in though with Kibas on either side of that table. This moto push is going to be the difference maker.
Yep, powering again. It is going to see Schmink with a bailiff to end one. Silo going to come up huge. Packer finally answering back with a Vector. Packer going to be good for 2.
Stop the
plant.
plant.
Going to be denied from the hallway here. Ivan yet again, now all up to aforementioned. Twist going to find 2. SMG 12 going to ring out and claim some fate as attackers find themselves a win and find themselves up in the scoreline.
Damn, the Heat just on fire right now. Winning downstairs in the basement. That's 2 basement wins in a row for them. 1 on defense, 1 on attack. What a stat for this team as they really struggled. That's a great adaptation that they've made across the board. Now, upstairs to the 2F. Envy not going to play that basement one more time. They're going to continue that site rotation. And again, they've got this opportunity. They could still send it to Consulate and keep in this. Envy wants to finish it off here wants to find a win on defense, on club, and honestly, that's the way we would have expected this to go. The problem is, Miami Heat is just very good right now and seem like, you know what, peaking at the right time.
Bomb located by attackers.
Miami Heat is just a good attacking team, right? If there's one thing that AMP does well, it's put together a team that can freaking attack, and even at the T1 level is having some really good success with it. So that's going to be the key. Those quick power moves, those quick taking advantage of situation, isolations, the decimations. And if Envy keeps playing into that, yeah, we could see a map number 3 here. One of the things, though, that we've seen, Envy can be kind of slow starty in a map, right? So allowing to get to that close to match point scenario or that match point scenario and then really turning up the heat, then giving you a little bit of what you haven't seen before to close the round out. So, you know, I'm not calling it trolling by any means because they're definitely getting worked right now. But definitely not playing up to full potential until it gets really important in the end.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Also, not saying that's the comms.
They don't necessarily need to, you know, to be playing that crazy. They can work on saving some strats, but ultimately, at the end of the day, you do still have to win this map if you want to play those SI closed qualifiers. I mean, you're still, again, going to have to fight through DZ, Oxygen, and C9 to be able to earn that spot for SI. But ultimately, you know, saving strats is just one piece of the Pro League, one piece of closed. You've got to come up with a win here for sure. So whether or not Club or Consulate is the place to do it, this feels like the better map for Envy. And Packer's going to hit that C4, taking down Silo again. Sit at 6, 7, and 3, but again, hey, he hasn't been the frag leader across the board, but such an impactful player. I've been saying his name often today.
What'd you say his scoreline was there, Run? I missed that.
He's got 7 deaths.
JJ
6,
to claim
7.
LeBronzo off the board, now claiming that man advantage by 2 in a good position to find themselves tied back up on the scoreline. But there's the first answer back. 10 and 6, JJ ripped off the board. As they find themselves in a tougher spot. Mike W is going to get active with a shotgun, but not before or after getting traded out by Bless. So it's still in a bit of a predicament here for Miami Heat. They're down in that man advantage, but it's a full health scenario, so potential to get in and push definitely an option. Quick swing in onto the desk is going to see a quick return to fire. Rival there to answer back onto Twist, though, and now into a 1v1. Again, a low health scenario for the side of Miami Heat, and needs a bullet straight to the dome piece to win this one out. The thing is, he's got plenty of time this time, Run. 40 seconds is so much to figure out exactly where that defender is going to be waiting at. Peeker's advantage going to be playing a part potentially here on the window. He's going to hold up into the bathroom and just kind of wait this one out. Patience is prime, and he pays off. He finds that.
Wow. Carrying a bit of momentum here at this point. That is 3 rounds in a row for Miami Heat. We talked about that on as we started off on this best of 3 back on Chalet, is that they had won 8 rounds in a row coming into that map, ultimately faltering, though, with Envy picking up the 7-5 victory on Chalet. Can they pull off some of that same magic here on ClubHouse to send this one to map 3? They're absolutely going to have to. 3 rounds, though, is not win the map. Let's put them in a pretty good spot, though, and again, great attacking team so far. Sitting at 5-3, 2 rounds over this Envy defense as we go into the tertiary site. Rather than play either of those primaries, Envy's going to keep the site rotation up. And I don't think that necessarily the site specific is the problem, but I mean, you talk about Bless and a rival that ended up in that 1v1 at the end, no util from either player, just into a gunfight, and Bless played that one just a little bit better. So when it comes down to it, we're getting into these 1v1s, and we're not seeing a significant strategic or fundamental advantage on either side.
Tyler going to bring out the walking shield, the mountain himself. Monty is here. Glaz on as well, which has kind of been that fun part of putting pressure onto that catwalk area. And then there it is, Mike W with the mirror. You've been seeing this a lot as you've been seeing this a lot as used in part of that breach denial, and it's effective, right? Oh, no, Twist, what a play. Mike W stays close and finds one, but immediately traded out, which means we find ourselves still in that 4-4 scenario. But it was a huge play getting the Capital off the board. Now pushing that catwalk and pushing a zombie off of it, going to be incredibly more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, Mike did pick up a couple extra kills, sitting at 3, 9, and 6 at this point. But yeah, losing that early, and then yeah, Twist says I'm dumb as he goes down, and they lose the extra Capital bolt. So they still have not dislocated the zombie. But look at this, the fire comes out and now shuts down the Monty. That is a huge pick there for Envy.
Puts themselves with that man advantage, still trying to put the pressure onto that garage player, but there's 2 to deal with, 1 below and 1 above. Smoke not going to be there forever to be able to hide this glass in there. So really the pressure to put onto this zombie player going to really start to double as the time starts to tick down. Grimbees go in, trying to reveal a location, looking towards that swamp area. Bless is going to find
Wait,
it on
he wins
JJ.
that again.
Does take us into a 3-3. Now Rival can be in a little bit more of a danger spot. But as the time ticks down, Run, Packer still has 3 smokes in play. If he's going to be left alive, he's going to be in a position to potentially do that denial. Bless finds Rival. Man advantage now over to the Heat, as they've got plenty of time to kind of just get in and suss out where these last 2 are at.
And the Chase fans in chat said that once Bless gets hot, he is difficult to stop and really showing up here big on ClubHouse. Picked up 11, 7, and 2 at this point. LeBron's sitting at 4 and 8. I mean, playing the support side of this. So we've got now garage control, catwalk control. Do they have the ability to get that plant down on default? Just waiting for the fire to go. He's going to take a little bit of heat. Smoke comes out again. He's not going to be able to try and pull that off one more time.
Nope, yeah, that's going to effectively stop that default plant still with 2 in, holding on to the angle, waiting for somebody to take a peek. Ivan going to be rewarded with a vector onto aim key. Now just has to get active, looking for that last smoke to come out, but he's pushed up close instead. So maybe a bit of an opposition finds one. That's going to get the down, but returned. Blitz goes
that
down.
Timing.
I don't know if they know, but it just is not going to matter. He's going to be able to get Packer back up, and the fact that no shots are ringing out back, nobody putting any pressure on, they're going to figure out pretty quickly that Bless is down, and they're going to be able to solve this. One closer to tying us up here for Team Envy.
And fried at the end, and yeah, Team Envy needed to continue to push to try and even this thing back out, and they have stopped the momentum that the Miami Heat built up. They won 3 in a row, but shut down on round 10 as Envy answers back, 1 round away from tying this thing up. And this is feeling very much like the play we saw on Chalet, where Envy picked up a couple before Miami Heat evened that thing back up. Ultimately, that was an Envy victory, more staying power across the board, but it was a huge victory there for Envy to shut down this team on the tertiary site.
Okay. Well, this is what we were talking about a little bit earlier on in this map run, is that Envy not trolling, but slow starting for sure. Now putting the pressure on. Not a perfect for 2 scenario just yet. That last round looked pretty good with the holdout. Heading down to Church this time, and now Scopos is on the board. The Scopos mute combo, one of my favorites. One of the reasons that we love this so much is it allows you to put yourself or presence up onto the 2F, right? You see the mute jammer go up and strategically place a few so that you can't just drone out the 2nd floor and know you're safe. No, you got to get boots on the ground. And usually there can be somebody still left up there. Rival on the Scopos might be part of that plan.
Yeah, and it forces the attackers to burn some explosive util to try and take down the idle shell because, you know, you can't get one of the explosive drones up and over that. So we'll see whether or not they use the utility like that. Feels like it's a bit of a gimmick at the pro level, but I still think that the mute Scopos combo is a good one here for your ability to make quick rotates, change up this this strategy for depending on where the Miami Heat's making this push from. It's a basement site, but man, this is a ton of play upstairs. Whether or not, you know, are they, I don't think, convincing the attackers that the site's upstairs, but that's just plenty of 2F presence for a basement site. Huge, huge roam game here from Envy.
I like it, though. I like being spread out. I like the time waste. I like that that can slow down a really aggressive Miami Heat. They're going to put some action into that, the Deimos and the Dokkaebi. You know, you're right, absolutely. They're going to put some pressure onto this roam game. But it's spread out to 3 floors. This isn't just a one-and-done, isolate, and then find your decimation. This is the buddy system in play. 2 on the top, 2 in the basement, and 1 in the middle to place spoilers should somebody get there. I like this defense.
The Deimos ping coming out on the Scopos to try and identify, so they know they've got a couple of these defenders upstairs holding on to this 2F. They're working on clearing this out, but it feels like they're going to avoid the garage side. It looked like we were going to have an interaction over on the cache construction side, but the attackers completely back off that engagement and go for more direct, opening up some of these sightlines. And look at this, already dropping in Moto directly. They are, you know what, taking advantage of the fact that Envy is off site.
Well, doesn't matter. Packer's going to find one. Ivan's going to find one as well, and it starts to fall apart here for the
Ivan
attacking
wins
side.
that.
They're just going to be picked off in real time. Packer on a shotgun finds a 3K, just not going to be denied from sight.
You know what? Let my teammates play upstairs. Hold on to that second floor, distract you. I'm just going to go ahead and shut the attack down single-handedly with the shotgun in the basement. Backer shows up exactly when he needed to, tying this thing back up. I mean, now the momentum officially stopped, completely cooled down. Envy tied this thing up 5-5 as we head into round 11. Man, my friend, this feels familiar.
It does. It seems reminiscent of map number 1,
Attackers need to
if we're
locate
being
and
real.
defuse
7-5 Chalet ended, and Envy on a bit of a hot streak now on the defensive side of things could spell disaster for Heat, and maybe push them into qual number 2 status instead. JJ's going to go on to the clash here. Still going to see some of that investment into intel, some investment into the slowdown. Not a bad defense. Definitely going to stop some of that speed, allow a little bit of that extension. But with the Azami off the board, kind of hinders some of that extension strat they were using earlier.
Yeah, not being able to play Azami is one of the opposites that's certainly making a big impact in shutting down some of those long sight lines, right? It either forces the attackers into wasting a bunch of bullets or having to work around those. But the piece that has been very successful, it feels like, from this Envy defense is the Goyo. I mean, and I'm glad the Observer highlighting where Rival's putting all of those canisters top red, right up against that main breach. I think there's some great opportunities there for Envy to try and block off or hold down this area denial piece. Now, most of those battles happening in the garage in that previous 2F site on round 9, ultimately won by the defense. So Miami Heat's going to have to work around that and make sure that they're not wasting too much time trying to gain that garage control.
Did you see that when he jumped over the railing, he took a shot towards dirt? That's just the heads-up play of the players of this caliber. I wouldn't even think to look down there. I die to that in ranked all the time. Somebody sitting in that dirt area to pick me off from that hot tub side. They just got a good presence of mind. You can't pull one over. It's got to be cheeky and not seen if you want to pull a quick one here, if you will. Silo's made his way in. Potential to put pressure onto this Clash, who plays that deployable shield area. He's going to try to hold on here with Candelas. Could make it dicey. They've doubled up on it. They've got some presence here, Run, to try to put pressure on.
Oh, look at that. That is
That's
so
slow it down.
perfectly played there from Rival with the canister at the top of red. Completely slows that thing down, but then Bless picking up a double. The fire is all over the place, and there it is. TK ringing out, just absolutely fried. There's a Miami Heat joke there for sure.
Ha. Yeah, if you can't stand the heat, you get off the top of red stair. Easy call. 4v2 now as Envy finds themselves a little bit of strat in the bin, but you've got double-digit killers on the side of the defense. 13-6, 10-7. Packer and Ivan been a real force to be reckoned with here on Clubhouse. So if you're going to have a couple alive to try to bring this back and claim that match point scenario, that's not a bad two to have to do it. Thatcher with that new DMR in hand. You can't watch him because it crashes the Observer if he dies. So just
or
trust
takes
that Twist is doing
damage.
something crazy. Or takes damage. Okay, so we just trust that Twist is probably doing something crazy. There's that new gadget in use, the EMP launcher. Not going to use it though, just going to get in off the back of the smoke and start to go for the plant. The C4 is here to deny it, but shots from afar are going to stop that C4 attempt.
What is this
Now
crazy
Valkyrie
run?
real
What?
bad spot.
What?
There's it. Jesus.
What's he doing? He just runs right into the middle of 3 of the defensive players and manages to catch 2. Man, the man was crazy. Oh, Miami Heat, what a big win. But honestly, that's just Envy. Man, was that Ivan that made that push play in the Valk at the end? Yeah, just goes and wins it. Wins one battle, knifes a second, and gets close on the third. What the hell? Indeed.
Well, you know, you go in pistol popping, there's bodies dropping, but you can get 2. The third gonna find it tough, and they find
Defenders, protect your
themselves
bombs
now
from being
on
defused by
match
attackers.
point. A potential to see Consulate, and it's a must-win for Heat here, or they're done and dusted. The proverbial bus ride looming ever closer. Envy, they've got something to lose here, and it's not just the chance at SI. There's pride on the line. You're T1, right? This is the area where you should be able to get it done. Heat's just displaying some incredible skill at the moment. Well, not at the moment. I mean, they're known for it. They're a bunch of girls. Overtime going to be needed unless Envy wants to see Consulate.
10 seconds left.
Honestly, I think the increase in the T2 play, the combination of the Challenger Series, 2 element seasons happening per year, 3 for the past 2 years, has just increased the level of the T2 teams to the point where very close to the bottom of the Pro League, right? There's a big difference between guys that can make it their full-time job, like the DZs, the Oxygens, the Shopify's out there, that can really set the top bar for the Pro League teams. But you know what? Near the bottom of Pro League, near the top of T2, there is definitely less of a defined line now that T2 has certainly picked up in North America.
Silo back onto the walking drone, the mountain. As he's peeking in and out of garage. He's letting the intel be known. We've got a player catwalk. We've got a player sitting swamp. First kill is going to be onto JJ as he's going to get taken off the board. What is that box on the Monty? Oh, never mind. I thought something was new going on with the shield.
I think it's just his shield icon is bugged as a part of the new season. Yeah, that one's been showing up. Whenever he is full shielded, I believe, the box shows up as a little bit of an issue. But, man, look at this. Making Swiss cheese out of that main wall again. Monty sitting, waiting at the top of the door. The drone's coming in. Envy having to deal with it. But, again, in a 2v5 scenario, this one looks like it is all but done. Can Ivan and Packer bring this thing back?
Well, it's a good start. Vector's going to ring out and claim Twist off the board. Now into a 1v4. Still not in an execute scenario and a contest to be had here, but it could be a shotgun in the hands of Packer onto the stairs. If you make that push, you better be ready for that sort of swing. Fire still going to ring out. Still denying that plant. Silo gets in and starts going for it. Packer able to find Bless off the board. Now into a 3-2 scenario. They're going to go ahead and stick it. It's a retake. They've got some pressure outside. They've got some pressure from Garage. Aimkey's able to take Ivan off the board. Run. This is heading into that Consulate, baby.
No way. Honestly, you know what? We set up at the beginning of this thing. Could not call which way it was going to go, my friend. Man. Envy. On top? That was a weird... Oh, Twist.envy. Man, he confused the hell out of me. I was looking at his name and my eye immediately gets drawn to Envy. I'm like, wait, no, they didn't win. The Heat won that. Yes. Wow, Miami Heat sending this thing to map 3. Consulate on the way, my friends. What a game. Man, just some great siege happening between these two teams, and it came down to that final round, and honestly couldn't call it all the way up to the end. So I'm not even going to make another prediction because I got no clue right now. It comes down to a best-of-1 battle between Envy and Miami Heat for that SI closed qualifier spot.
That's right. One more map. We're going to get it right when we get back. Sit back, relax, because when we come back, it's the third map. Ayo.
Let's go.
No better fitting map with...
What's up, and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. It all comes down to this final map. Who's making closed, and who has to come back for qual number 2? Aimkey versus JJ, a tale as old as time, Run.
Honestly, I love the fact that it's come down to a one-map battle, best of one, to finish out a single elimination best of one bracket. Same here. They have done battle on Chalet, ClubHouse, and now it is time for Consulate. And you know what? Too freaking close to call. Both teams have got guys who have been tremendous on this map. They have had, like we said, destined to do battle forever on this one, and honestly, we have been looking forward to it all day. You said it comes down to this: the winner of this map goes on to the closed qualifiers to join and the rest of the Pro League rosters, DZ, Oxygen, and C9, to do battle in closed qualifiers taking place in January, my friend. The loser has to do battle, find that win December 20th in the open qualifier number 2. And they got to go through a whole single elimination bracket again.
And only one spot available for that one.
Only one. Yeah.
Okay, so now we head to map 3, Consulate. Aim key on the precipice of taking down another set of T1 talent. They got to get through a really aggressive NV who has just been showing some, honestly, just no fear. That's what they've been showing. It's swing or be swung, trusting in the gunfight, trusting in the power of friendship for the refrag capability. Multiple players, including Ivan and Packer, being good for that multi-kill on the other side of it. And Consulate starts to favor some of that stuff, right? Packer running a ton of shotguns, and on Consulate, it's close quarter combat. It's time to send it for that.
You said it. It is time to send it, my friend. And here we go. Honestly, been looking forward to this close quarter combat, but you got a big map, 3 full floors. It favors some big interactions. It favors some, some of those long distance shots. The DMRs, man, going to be a little bit more valuable as we run into this one.
Bans are going to be interesting, right? We've seen some pretty impactful players. One of the things that I know will probably stay the same is getting rid of those breach denials, because opening up, even if it's just the smallest area, is going to be important, specifically when you're playing onto that basement, specifically when you're playing on that 2F, right? It's not just get the single main breach wall opened up, but you got to open up Visa to put the pressure off those people playing in vending. You got to open up the long angle from pro window. There's just so much that you have to get opened up. Getting the Kate off the board is a good start. The secondary option there, though, taking the Valkyrie off as well, that's an interesting pick, right? It's taking some cams down. It's definitely something that Heat has been playing into the entirety of this series so far. So I'm not mad at the pick.
Mad at the pick? No, definitely not. That's not where
Attackers
I'm
need to
at
locate
either.
and
So I think
defuse
this
as
is
many bombs
working
as they
out
can.
certainly in their favor. So, whether or not is the bandit going to make a big difference? Leaving the Mira up for them to be able to play, and I wonder whether or not we'll see a Tachanka ban coming in at some point here on Consulate. Is he going to increase in value to the point where, you know what? Yeah, we need to get rid of that area denial. The slowdown is just too much to have to deal with. And one of the things I love about this game, the ever-evolving series of strats and counter strats that happen. As the
10
players
seconds to
continuously
insertion.
change up both stacks and the nerfs and buffs
5
associated.
seconds to go.
Now this is up onto the 2F, right? We've got that double area denial. This is the one I struggle a little bit as a Tachanka non-fan, right? Because this is where you need to be very precise with the launcher to be effective at stopping the default main, at stopping the pro window, and default on the Visa side, right? You can effectively hold them all, but you have got to be locked in with the launcher to do so. So this is where I start to struggle with some of the Tachanka play. But when you couple it with other area denial operators like the smoke, then it starts to become a little bit more of a viable strat. I like the triple threat of Doom, on this one. The Legion of Doom bringing out the Goyo smoke and Tachanka for this 2F hold. They got most of it, so we'll see how it plays out.
As we get into that first minute of gameplay, the drone's getting out, finding some of those defenders, and yeah, they got pulled on top of the stairs here, holding on. You know, that vending hallway really starts to be an important push point. And interesting, Schmink is playing over on vending as opposed to playing closer to that default plant window, right? It's just sort of a change up in the style. So again, the evolution, the counter strat in play here from the area denial. He's got a lot of area to cover though, and that all of that space from the top of Sparrow behind him makes it a very dangerous place to play.
You know, I like it. I like being on that great dividing wall. I think that if you can hold it, if you've got support, it could be good. But the caster curse is going to ring out. I said I like it. He immediately gets ripped down. So man advantage to the hands of Envy as they take the Tachanka down. And honestly, no surprises. Unfortunate, just a little too slow in that sort of. And now I know, Run, you said, you talked with Canadian at this Exploitation. He said Tachanka is a good pick for 2F. Well, it didn't work out that time. Ivan goes down, answered back, Twist goes down, and all of a sudden, Aimkey, LeBronzo, alone in a 1v3. That plant is starting to go down. They've got the cross set up. He's got to be guns up to take this exchange, and instead it's going to be a wall bang, a good night, and a sleep die.
Man, the wall bang there to finish that off. Crazy. And Envy on attack on what has continued to be an attacker-sided day works out in their favor and take down the Miami Heat upstairs on that second floor. It's been a little bit of a back and forth for us about whether or not the second floor on Consulate is one or should be one of the primary sites because there's so many opportunities and avenues of attack. I like the way that they changed up, shifting the Tachanka over to sort of change up that strat, but felt like they needed a little bit more, you know, defensive utility in play to try and help him defend that position a little bit longer. You said it, he went down early. See, as that, again, continues to evolve, but Envy just on fire, and for sure, they know this is a must-win scenario for them, and you said it, more than just the qual on the line. There's a lot of pride, too.
So where did he die from? I didn't quite catch how Tachanka died in that scenario. Do you know?
I did not catch it either. You know, it's one of those things. So much action happened.
Tachanka died by drone hole.
Okay, well, there you go. Strat be damned. Shoot him in the feet. Pro strat. You heard it here first, folks.
That is wild. Thanks, Unnamed, for jumping in, giving us that little piece of intel, because, yeah, didn't catch it. Through getting shot in the toes. Well, I mean, from a defensive standpoint, I mean, you see Twist is playing upstairs on the 2F heavy again this time. There's all kinds of places, again, that you can get yourself caught in a bad situation. Pack's going to work on droning this piece, and look at that. Immediately identifies that Twist is upstairs. See whether or not this heavy roam game is going to pay off for him. Again, he feels like he's taking... I don't know whether or not it's unnecessary or calculated at this point. Still a bit of a 50-50.
All 5 alive as the first minute counts down. Getting some drones in, really doing their due diligence. Making sure that they've got an idea where people are sitting out on this top floor. It's got to be a full clear from the top down. And they've got some investment into it, both Ivan and Mike W up there to make sure that they can suss out anybody who's there. But they've already made the rotate back down. So 2 members sitting onto the first floor and the rest bunkered back. Good, efficient time waste here out of the defense.
I mean, time waste, name of the game here, to work on clearing out this basement side. But look at this swings! I think if she had not given away her position by shooting that floor, probably would have won that battle, but that goes in Schmink's favor and puts Envy down in the man count one more time. So now, stuck, not down, not out at this point. The defensive utility continuing to slow this team down. They still have got plenty of time. Minute 10, and they're working on opening up this vertical piece. Nobody from the defense holding on to those first floor. They are all bunkered back down, so it allows Envy to move around completely as much as they need to at this point.
Yeah, but it wasn't without cost, right? You lost your intel during that, so you're playing a man down and time starting not to tip into their favor. defense kind of just happened to bring that hold on thing. Now, the big problem here for Envy is that Enki still has a C4 in hand to be able to stop that vertical pressure as well. So as long as he can stay alive towards this last couple of seconds, he might come up huge on the multi-kill. Back to find the first. Answers yet again as JJ takes aim key down. That's that win con met as far as the C4. Impact is going to ring out. The Pokeball to choose a JJ is going to take us into a 3-3. Now battle against the Mira. P10 Roni going to ring out, and it's going to be coming up all Heat side. They're going to hold out. Bless is going to P90 his way into their first round on number 3.
Man, Bless has been on an absolute tear. Chase is the man. I know there was people calling him out in chat. We talked about it on that previous map. He is heating up exactly when he needs to. Ties this thing up. Man, back and forth. We've been saying that all day. Envy, Miami Heat, right now, feels like this is the match that we all wanted to see. We're so happy that we get a chance to work this one. Honestly, still too close to call. I'm not seeing either team make significant mistakes again that says no, they're not going to be able to carry this thing forward. It is it's small back and forth, and look at this. Aimkey bringing out the cap can. We have not seen an awful lot of cap can played on either side from any of the teams really as a part of this open qualifier. This could catch the NB team off guard or a little bit of wasted utility.
Yeah, I love the cap can. I love the cap can early on. I think if they're playing aggressive, they can hold on to some really big spots. And even if you're only getting chipped away one trap at a time, which won't be the case, but even if you are, it's still going to be in your head the rest of the game, right? You don't want to get into a position where you have to waste your third ban on a cap can. Won't be the case. I don't think I'll ever probably see that in comp play, but it's still, if it could be a big enough factor that it's going to be on your brain for the rest of the round, and even if you don't get kills, it will slow you down.
And that feels like something that Miami Heat has done generally a pretty good job of. Across the board on ClubHouse, we saw that they played a little bit aggressively, jumping out, running out of those windows, taking some of those calculated risks outside. Ultimately, feels like that was part of what netted them a map win on ClubHouse. So they're going to carry some of that in as well here. But look at that. Mike W was a guy that struggled to get anything going on that previous map. Opens up here, taking down Silo. All that passive Malusi util down at least, but losing the man early is an unfortunate situation.
Big call goes out as Sledge is going to make entry in here to that top floor. Shotgun in hand as Sledge is on tech. He's going to find one. Ivan to carry it on an LMG, and now Blitz active on yellow. Pistol pop to drop aim key down and keep him killless inside of 3. Now a 5v1. Bless, you said he's been perfect. Well, let's see if he can be on pace for the ace to bring this one back. Plant's going down. Classic retake scenario here for the Heat, as he's got us started by finding that first kill. And I don't want to call it an impossible run, but this is just too big of a hill to be able to climb back from. Mike W starts out the round with a kill and is going to end it with one as well.
Great hold outside from behind the barricade. Fantastic play. Envy just played that one better. A lot of the action happening upstairs, but hitting all of their shots. That opening pick from Mike W, and you said it, to close the round out as well. Great first quarter here for this team. They pick up 2 to Miami Heat's 1, continuing the trend of an attacker-sided day overall. Both of these teams doing a very good job on attack, so says to me, Envy needs to build up a bigger than a 3-3 split this time. They need to pick up 4 of those attacking wins to try and slow down the Heat. I was going to take a look at the map bans and see just, which team had actually picked Consulate. And shoot, it didn't pull up for me. I'll look it up in a minute.
Back to the 2F here after the round rotate. Attack seeming to come up heavy here as they hold on to that 2-1.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs
we were
as they
kind of
can.
talking about, attacker or defender-sided maps earlier. And you kind of got to feel like at this stage, right, with this caliber, that might not necessarily really matter, right? I mean, obviously, skyscraper, you're going to call it defensive-sided. It's going to be very difficult as an attacker, but at this stage, at this level, it still can go 50-50, right? So, Consulate, I don't know. Attacker side, defender side, I don't know. It's just who's hitting their shots right now. And currently, MV winning that battle by one.
Yeah, still very close. And taking a look at the map bans, it did come down to border or Consulate. So MV had to make the choice, which one were we going to for the decider. So I guess in this case, Envy's choice, right? They could have gone border, they could have gone Consulate, and choosing the bigger map. And I think feels like that is a little bit better for their play style. Again, more structured, not having to worry so much about a Miami Heat team that on attack has been very good overall, right? Just swing into it, because gonna have to play, play the attack side first. Maybe on border that's an advantage, but I think that was honestly a good choice for this team. And from a Miami Heat, I mean, it feels like they're not taking as many chances on this map as they did on ClubHouse, and it feels like it's given a little bit of the boost to this NB attack.
Like seeing the shield come back out. Schmink has been an absolute god on that thing. So, of course, leading to part of their win on ClubHouse. Being that mobile mirror that you talked about has really given a ton of advantage on that time waste for the defense. And then you got some gun skill to back that up. Couple that with the area denial doubled up. I like this a little bit better because it's a little bit more of, even if you die with the Goyo in hand, you still get that gadget being down. Pressure towards Spiral. I'm going to see two players holding up here, making sure that you're not going to get it in. Flores' drone is going to try to start pushing some of these players out. What it does do is open up the cabinet, which means Skylight can be a little bit more dicey.
Yeah, they're going to need to use the Clash to try and just gain some of that intel about exactly where the team's pushing in from. It also opens up the floor, allowing that main lobby to put pressure at the top of Spiral as well. But Bless is going to answer back. Man, 4-2 right now. Mike W comes up big, picking up his third. So a little bit of a trade back and forth as that final minute of gameplay ticks down. Envy has gotten some of these assets in the right place, but you take a look at where those blue outlines are, spread out across this map. No coordinated effort. It is pressure from all avenues.
A quick trade here. Rival gonna ultimately take aim key off the board, and then it falls in a huge way. So Schmink is able to pick up one, and now the shield is active towards that Spiral area, but they're not gonna be there. It's gonna have to be a big rotate as the Deimos ping starts to go off. Is gonna be a little bit of protection, but every move is documented, right? Every call out, every room he goes into is just being lit up by the Deimos right now. Now they know that they've got a cross set up. Now they know that they can plant safely, and that's exactly what they're doing. Post-plant scenario here for Schmink. Try to tie
we dropped
this
the hatch.
It's outside. So he got himself outside. Boop. Not gonna happen. Mike W, new DMR in hand. He says, good night, get out, my round. 3-1, MV sits up onto the Heat.
Honestly, that was Mike Dub's round as well. He was hitting all of his shots, and really this has been his map. The opening pick on the previous round, the closing, and then picked up a 3K on this, on fire right now. And again, heating up, and we said it for ClubHouse for Miami Heat, peaking when they need to. This is the time. It's come down to that 1v1 or one map scenario here to try and decide who is going on to the closed qualifiers. A couple of pro teams waiting. Going to be adding another, or some of the top of the T2 stack trying to find their way in. And right now, Twist, I mean, he had a great game on that first map and struggling to get anything going. But the big one, Inky, still sitting at 0-4. You know, uncharacteristic certainly for him, and maybe feeling frustrated. Are we going to see some of this this mental struggles come through and allow Envy to just build up a bigger lead? Said early that really we wanted to see them pick up a 4 attacking win here on this map with how attackers sided the overall day has been, and right now they're looking good for it.
Those third set of bands ring out. It's going to be the Blitz and the Azami. That shield presence just sometimes proving to be a little too much to deal with, or at least not something that you want to have to deal with. That spearhead. And on the other side of it, Azami, there's no surprises there. Her ability to just absolutely dig in really makes it incredibly difficult to deal with. But look at this. Already, Ivan, the sledge, not on tech. He's got the L85 in hand, but he's just going to push up and take space. Sussed out onto the camera means they do know that that top floor presence is now activated. A C4 to try to send it. Drone sussed out. Looking towards the hatch. Sledge could open it, but they're ready for that. In a bit of a spot here. He's looking for the Deimos to try to help him out. JJ's going to get ripped off the board. A Vector rings out. Huge play by Aimkey. So he's going to find his first kill in map number 3.
Damn, we said he needed to get active, and he does that. Finds his one, at least to start off. The momentum changed for sure. But I love the fact that they had 3 C4s on the board, already 1 gone, but right, they had them in hand waiting. This is a basement bomb site, and right, this was a very spread out, very roam heavy defense, and feels like that is winning versus this Envy roster. That was not successful on Chalet. Envy did a much better job of managing the roam game versus Miami than it feels like they're doing here on Consulate. But again, they're still up 3-1, so we were expecting Miami to get better as this has gone on.
A little bit of a slowdown here as there's a reassessment happening for Envy. Looking for what's going to be that bingo button. Not going to be here. Bless good with a P90 for the multi-kill is going to find 2. And now it's a low health scenario for the last 2 members alive. Plenty of time, but no health in which to get it done. They might be able to pad the KD here a bit, but Heat is not going to throw this one. And looks like we're probably going to get a little bit closer to tying this one up. They get the down, they get the swing, and it's a flawless for the Heat.
Man, they had a couple of nades in pocket. I wonder why the attackers didn't try and at least util dump into that hallway. You had 3 defenders stacked up ready for that spiral push down, especially after he shot that default cam. You had a pair of nades and a pair of flashes in pocket for the Envy attackers, and they didn't choose to just dump that into the hallway and hope to catch somebody jaywalking. Obviously, you're going to force them back in one of those rooms, but you know what? A little bit of space. Force him into taking an angle rather than the peeker's advantage swing. Miami Heat just played that one a little bit better, taking advantage of an Envy mistake, which rare does happen, and gets us a little bit closer to that tied round. This is the big one. Are we going to see a 3-3 split, or is the Envy attack going to come up big? We're going to see the second floor again, 3rd time here for this bomb site.
This is a make-or-break round run, honestly, right? Heat needs this. A 3-3 tie-up with Heat going onto the attack, I feel will put them at an advantage, right? The Aimkey's attack strats they've been bringing to the table here have been incredible. And really start to catch some of these Envy players on the back foot. 4-2, definitely going to put some favor to Envy. They can rest on the laurels of that defensive stronghold. But I feel like if we tie this up 3-3, Heat's going to put the pressure on towards the end round.
All right, my friend. Start of round 6, the last round for the half. Look at this, JJ running the Amaru. Combination with the gridlock, the Capital, man, getting ready for the quick execute upstairs. And I know, the observer mentioned it, unnamed said, from the Tachanka perspective, he's one of the only guys that can deny a quick plant upstairs because of that the new Thatcher gadget. So, but from the Miami Heat, not going to run him, and then Aimkey goes down again. Unfortunately, gonna end the first half at 1-5. A little bit tragic there for him. But there is the opportunity here for a quick plant. I was going to say they might need to get downstairs and cover that jump in the window, and it's going to be Silo that takes down Mike W, who was ready to cover that piece of it. So still have got to deal with Ivan. He's downstairs. Envy knows that they need to get control downstairs solidified before they can see that quick plant happen. Baits the util out, my friend. Let's go.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, quick little bait to make sure that nothing's going to be there to cause some death and destruction when they get in. And This time, Bless is going to find it again. Rival to answer back onto Silo as we get equalized onto the 3-3 count. A shotgun, though, could spell devastation if they swing in towards the window. There it is. Shotgun swings, but he's not going to find it. Now that smoke, or C4 is going to ring out and miss as well. So huge bait yet again here by JJ and that Amaru. This time, there's going to be the fire in place. Not going to be able to make a quick shotgun swing. You're going to have to actually poke for the vertical. And C4 is going to find the first. Looking towards that closet area for another. Yeah, it was perfect. Absolutely. The diffuser now down. JJ's off the board. Man advantage to the defense in 60 seconds in which to get it done.
Well, and the only two guys you've got left alive is the one that was supposed to be outside to cover the post plant, and Ivan, who was downstairs. Miami Heat is in a great position to close out this round. It's 50 seconds left. They're going to have to work to try and get this diffuser, so it's going to be, you know, focused on getting the kills. No way they're going to be able to pull this off without it.
Now into the 1v. Nah, the shotgun is send it. I was about to say, you know, maybe potentially to pre-fire and get it, but no. It's a quick peek. It's a shotgun in the close quarter combat arena, and you know that they are king there. 3-3 on the tie-up. And this run, this feels like a huge Heat win. Now, how are they going to capitalize? They're going to be aggressive. They're going to take space. They're going to hope for the Envy mistake to capitalize on. Is Envy going to get it to them? I think it's going to start with this ban phase.
Man, that C4, just got to call that one out again. The difference maker in that previous round. Envy, I think, would have won if they were able to get that plant down completely. You had coverage outside, coverage from down below, and would have forced the Miami Heat into that post plant scenario and had to hunt down the player downstairs, try the run out scenario through the window. The C4 comes in clutch and is the MVP of round 7, sending the Heat into that 3-3 split. You said it, the ban phase coming out, and all cheese ops across the board. Grim, the attacker util, Glaz, Clash, Valk down. So we're going to put all of the fundamentals available on the board. Breach denial. You can have the Cade, you can have the Bandit, you can have Ace, you can have Therm. Open it up any way you want. You're just not going to be able to make those execute ops a piece of it.
Defenders, protect your bombs
Okay.
from being defused by attackers.
A little bit of a switch up to some of the operators, though. Valk's off the board, so still wants some of that intel. Sans the Souls, we're going to bring out the Pulse. And I like that call. Backer going to be on tech himself, shotgun and Reaper in hand. I like this for the Pulse play. The question is he going to be soloing downstairs? He's going to have that help. They've got Tachanka up here, but it's their only form of area denial. That feels like a miss.
10 seconds to go.
We'll see whether or not Mike W can hold that one down. You know, it's going to be a... Whether or not they hit their shots is going to be a piece of it, certainly. But it feels like, you know, they don't have a lot of the extra intel. The Valk got banned, but, you know, they could have potentially run the Echo. They've got one of the BPs in play. Packer's going to run the Pulse as the alternative there to try and give them a little bit of this intel. But look at this. Just blocking off that... Yeah, like stuck in between the file cabinets, making it difficult for the window player to try to clear. So I like the inventive use of the Denari, and you know what? I'm here for it. Rival and Fens both have had some great Denari plays that we got a chance to see today.
Well, I mentioned earlier that, you know, is there going to be some power of friendship to help this Pulse hold vertical, but that is not going to even be the case. You know, not knowing comms means we don't know how they're going to make that. Pulse is going to stay up top instead of just feed in intel. And that's going to be huge because they get that first kill onto the Blackbeard. Pulse does go down, and surprise, surprise, Tachanka is going to be quick to follow. Now all of a sudden you find yourself in a 4-3 scenario.
Honestly, it would have been 5-3 unless Silo, you know, Silo just swinging into that window. It felt like off the back of not enough intel there because one of the defenders is sitting. And it really felt like there's no reason for Mike W to swing on that on the main breach solo. Why take that chance again? Felt like a bit of a mistake for him to try and like take that action along solo. He could have held back, waited for his team to continue to back up that position. But mistakes on their part, in Miami Heat taking advantage of it. And you said it, plenty of time for them to be able to work this execute. Use the Thatcher to try and clear out some of this defensive util and give them plenty of time here to execute. Man, looks like potentially another attacking win.
Well, you know I love my GOAT Mike W, but you said he shouldn't have swung, and you were right. It's the Tachanka player mentality, main character syndrome, and he pays the price for it. They do answer back. In fact, now they do it twice as Rival's able to take aim key off the board quickly, getting us back into an equalized number here. Still have that global gadget of Finka available and an LMG with enough bullets to kill everybody in the lobby. And, of course, Twist on the other side of it, rocking that new DMR. Everybody full health here in this last 30 seconds of exchange. Now made their way in, holding on to that pixel peak angle, and that's going to be Rival. Nasty, caught him, slacking, headshot, lacking. And it's going to be a quick one. Set him up for a double in the end. Call him clutch because he got it, my friend.
Was that a 4K coming out from him?
Hey, are we breaking out the barbecue sauce for that 4-piece? It feels like we just might need to do that. Rival is just absolutely showing up right now on Consulate.
Yeah, that was a hell of a good play for him. Great defensive round for Envy. I thought that was, what a roller coaster ride that round was just by itself. Feeling like, Miami was up in a 2-4 scenario, but they squander it. They throw away a 4-2 lead on that round and just give it away to Envy off the back of Rival having a great round. You know what? Man, a little bit of a mistake. Again, your team makes a mistake. The other guys are absolutely going to capitalize off it. The only answer is you cannot make a mistake.
Okay, back onto the pulse play. I like it. Intel still, although you said could be a potential little bit lacking for that intel, but it's 3 C4s to try to play off of him. So him staying alive to feed that intel for these C4 going to be absolutely paramount.
5 seconds to insertion.
All right, as we get into it, look like they're going to be able to get this wall open. I think that's certainly the plan, as they brought along the thermite, and with his 3 exothermics, they should make that a little bit easier. The question is how much time spent over on the secret side. Using the Monty, they're getting ready to follow in, but they're working on opening this up slowly from the gridlock side, but no one there to try and take some shots as they open up that secret wall. So we're going to push on the server side. The drone's coming in. That's Cade holding down that spot, distracted by the drone, though. And really the only piece of that defense that's set up over. But JJ wins that battle versus Bless. What a huge pick to take down Bless, who had been on fire.
Not just on fire, but the clear and present frag leader, right? Now it's going to be Monty coming in, not able to take the fight. Instead, it's going to be a C4 to ring out. Quickly, there's just going to be fire and smoke everywhere and put us into a 3-3. Yet again, with so much time left on the board here. Just under 2 minutes left. And now that pulse, now that intel is going to start to become a huge factor. Except he's sussed out. He's sussed out right now.
And what a great play there from JJ downstairs. Heads up play to get the C4 out. He hits that, loses his life in the process, but managed to take down 2 of the Miami Heat attackers and ties this thing up in a 3-3. Got them blocked off. Packer just giving away a ton of intel there with the pulse. They've got Spiral locked down, so gonna force the Miami Heat into continuing to work the drone side and slowing them down. They still have got a minute to work with and plenty of util. Ace and Schmink both fully loaded up on those on all of that hard breach potential and flashes and nades in pocket, so they've got plenty to work with.
60 seconds now. Time starting to become a factor. Shotguns in hand as they start to push towards this back side. they're going to get rid of some of those gridlock tracks, and it's not going to pay off. Double duty on the side of the attacking squad as they now find themselves in a 3-1. 40 seconds left. A couple of quick peeks. He's holding on. It's patience. It's presence. It's a C4. It's a... no, it didn't. It doesn't go far enough.
No way.
Wasted. Now into a low health scenario. The plant can start to go down. A pistol pop is going to see it, but, I mean, honestly, across setup, it's only going to take the hint of a whiff of a bullet to take him off the board here. So, got to be perfect, got to click heads. He's going to take another couple of shots. It's low health. He's got a DMR, so the comeback here is definitely possible. A flash to ring out, but it's going to miss the mark. A second one to go onto the doorway, but it's going to be the case. Head ripped off. Mike W's life forfeit as they're going to find themselves another round on the side of the Heat.
While continuing the attacker trend and tie this thing up. Miami Heat may have thrown away that previous round, but they answer back, pick up round 8, and goes in their favor. Back and forth battle continues to deliver. Man, 4-4, we are down to, and just the final couple rounds in a best of 3 that has gone the distance. All 3 required 7-5 victories on either side. And we have had tie games at 5-5 on both
Attackers
of the previous
need to locate
maps.
and defuse bombs.
Sheesh. Take a quick second here and shout out Heyo Lambo, GOAT in the chat, and some royalty to our favorite player at G2, the spawner of Stompin'. Appreciate you stopping in and having a watch at this back and forth battle. Map 3 tied up 4-4. Go big or go the F home on the line right now. One of these teams is heading to close. One of them is heading the heck home and needs to go on qual number 2. And still at that point where we can't freaking
5
call
seconds
it.
to go.
I don't even know, right? This should be envy. This should be it, but aim key, just not to be denied. The aim key stack is here, and they're trying to make that big name for themselves.
Les has been on fire and certainly the guy to watch at this point. Not quite ready to call him a win condition yet, but certainly sitting at 10-5-1. He had an incredible defensive half. Hasn't had that same level of success on attack, but certainly one of the guys to watch. But again, basically very few slouches at this point. Everybody contributing. Aimkey picking up some big shots on that previous round. So everybody is answering back here. Man, just heart is beating like crazy right now because I cannot tell who is going to win this match, and I hate the fact that we got to see one of these teams go home.
That's right. Somebody's going to win, but for that means somebody's got to lose. That's my official caster analysis for you folks. Somebody going to get in that position right this second. You're going to hear that Dokkaebi call going off as they're trying to find some of these locations, and now a push up the back stair to put some pressure on the top players up here, and they've got a couple, right? We see the Ella, we see the Smoke, and Malusi all up here ready to be that defining factor, saying that you're not going to get in. I love a Roman Smoke. It's one of my faves.
Half this round is gone at this point, and all 10 left alive. Feels like, again, we've seen this occasionally where it feels like the attacking team starts to move a little bit slow. There's a lot of slowdown there from the Malusi and the Legion, but not a ton of area denial. The roaming Smoke, yeah, so that means that Sight is not going to have that area denial in place. And you take a look at it, it's only JJ holding down the Sight. Most of the rest of the assets upstairs on that second floor, 4 of those players. So Miami Heat, there's an opportunity maybe to jump in, try and take advantage of a defense that is very spread out, very roam heavy, but also, man, you just work on clearing that top floor. But the problem is 50 seconds left, all 10 left alive, and the Heat is not in position to play that second floor. Mike W punishes them for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you could jump in and maybe try to take some of that space, but that vertical pressure is just going to prove to be too much, right? Because there's so many avenues to attack from above with some relative safety. So gonna have to find a way to deal with that. First kill does go out onto Silo. Body balance does tip into the hands of Envy here. A few more damages as Aim Key's going to see a little bit of action also on the other side. Mike W, though, to go down. That's going to take those smokes off the board, and that's going to give him a chance to start planting. Solus looking around but can't find out where the diffuser is, just a bit too far
she
away.
missed it!
Then that's going to put us into a post plan. Attackers become defenders. Defenders become attackers. And just like that, going for the ninja defuse, gets in, and they're going to find themselves a round win off sheer cheek. Sheesh.
Wow. A diffuse that goes down when it feels like it shouldn't have, and then the ninja counter diffuse behind the scenes as all the action is happening upstairs. Boy, the extension upstairs, just look at this back and forth scoreline. Right? No one, again, really picking up and holding on to what is a crazy lead at this point. The back and forth battle continues to deliver. As we go into that ban phase, we're going to lose the Blackbeard and lose the Cade, which I think are both good calls because of the impact they've had so far. So it takes one piece of that fundamental asset away from this NV defense. They're no longer going to have the K to try to block off some of those sight lines, but that hasn't really been the defining factor of this game, is opening up those walls. This has been an awful lot more just, I wouldn't call it TDM, but it's straight gun skill at this point.
That pick feels
Attackers
like
need to
it's
locate
leaning
and
into
defuse bomb.
the eventuality of overtime, right? Not necessarily the pick that's going to define round number 10. You know, maybe it's the pick that might define round, 11, but either way, I think it's setting up for that long haul. I like that play. They tripled up. Run. It's the Legion of Doom right now, bringing out Tachanka, Smoke, and Goyo. It's that I wish you would try to push this spot mentality, and with feeding that intel as well, and the Ella on board to deal with any sort of shield presence that you've got, this is a defense I really, really like.
Saw Envy on attack try and pull off that quick execute on that sight window, but the Heat going for something a little bit more traditional. Combination of the Thatcher and the Ace to make sure that they can open up that main breach, and then Silo on the shield. And then Bless continues to run that Finka and the LMG. 11, 5, and 1, having a fantastic game. He picked up one after we talked about him sitting at that 10-kill mark, so a little bit more success. But they need to find this win here to tie this thing back up in 5-5. And, man, to have 3 maps go 5-5 is a wild stat. That rarely happens when you have 2 teams that are this closely matched.
It just means that they both belong to be here, right? This is the chance for freaking SI, right? A chance to prove that you belong with the greats on an international stage. You fight with your whole damn heart, and that's exactly what we're seeing out of these 2 teams right now. Global Gadget's going to ring out here from Finka as they start to make their way into Visa. Smoke clouds to stop the push towards the left side. Still have to deal with that great invisible wall that is that vending corridor, similar to how you see on Skyscraper for those 2 F sites. It's a tough place to get yourself. Lots of intel out of the Pulse. This is about to be huge potential.
There it is!
It's a fucking one! Jeez, I could have been so much worse. Your health is destroyed. Bless is off the board, who's been having a generational game. Sitting currently at that double digit and the frag leader, so a huge pick by Packer, but that does remove the C4. Now you're going to be relying on that Legion of Boom, that Legion of Doom area denial process to hold out for the rest of the round.
Wow, look at this. Monty just pushes right up into the reception area and loses his life as a result. But look at that, the kill feed back and forth. That's a plant going down, though.
Yeah, they made their way inside, and in a 3v2, a post plant seems to start to be doable. And that's going to be a pulse going down, but it's going to be on the trade. Rival with a Vector has to pull out a shotgun because there's no time to reload. Pushing in, taking space, finds him again.
Wow. No 5-5. The tie game denied at the end as Envy puts themselves on match point. And not just match point, my friend, but match point, map point, series point, and SI Open Qualifier number 1 point. 1 round away from heading to closed, where they honestly feel like they belong to start this thing off.
Have to be perfect for 2. The proverbial heat is on for this Miami Heat team.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
Got to do it on
bomb.
attack. Kind of what you've been very well versed in throughout this entire series. Definitely not an insurmountable odds here. We head down to the basement for Team Envy. They're going to lean into some of that slow down play, right? Mira's still available and on the board, so she's obviously going to be used here. I think one of the big picks is going to be that Vigil
Bomb
coming out,
located by
right? He has
attackers.
the potential to play that lurk game, to be that spoiler, or just
10
be that
seconds to
time
go.
waste all the way up top. What they're going to have to do is Miami Heat
5
is
seconds
going to
left.
have to dedicate bodies to getting him taken care of. One of the big lapses that I feel here,
Attackers are
though,
moving
we
to
don't
defuse the
have a
bomb.
ton of intel on the side of Envy, which is something that they've been playing into a lot. Now, this could just be the switch up to the strat, right? They've been saving this one for now. Mirror Window going to go onto the main breach and act as that last line of defense.
No way.
It's going to work against that thermite. Maybe. Maybe not.
We didn't get to see which way it went. Did the Thermite win the battle, or did the Mirror Window win the battle on the main breach? Oh,
No,
wow. I thought
it's
the
the
Mirror
Thermite.
Window won. I honestly thought that that was perfectly played by JJ on the Mirror. That's crazy.
Now they can start opening up upstairs. Thermite with those 3 hard
Oh,
breaches.
no.
Now those 3 thermite charges.
That
Going
missed.
to be able to open up, well, I mean, it opened up a rotate, and it's still going to allow them with a 3rd one to open up that hatch as well. But there was that play. There was the Vigil. That was the one that we said you had to look out for. And they're going to come up fat. Silo goes down. Man advantage back into the hands of the defense, and he's still left alive. He's still up onto the 2nd floor, and now he's got Ivan up there as well. And this has been the Doom combo. Legion Goo goes off. He's going to go ahead and take it. Not going to swing here because he's having that presence of mind to just hold. He's got a pick swing. Still unsussed out. Jeez. Ivan finds him. Bless. Deleted off the board. Now the Dokkaebi beam goes off, but the damage has been done. Looking for a secondary swing, but now he's got a shotgun in hand. He's going to find
There it
the
is,
kill.
Schmink.
Answers back. Now into a 3-3. Run still 1 minute and 18 seconds left, and this just started to look winnable for the Miami Heat. They've all got themselves down into the basement. Holding on to that bunker strat, potentially. Still got 1 Selma charge in hand to open up some of those angles if they're holding on to it. No more Dokkaebi calls it either. I think the big factor here, JJ and Mike W still hold on to those C4s. With 50 seconds left, the plant to be forced is going to start to be a thing.
Man, that is just crazy. There was some chat about whether or not Smink should have used the shotgun on that previous round. This time, he pulls off that win, but now they are out of time at 35 seconds left. It's a 3v3. The smokes go out!
They're going to deny entry in. Warden's got his special goggles on, and he's holding from the long angle. Taking shots from Red, still have 1 smoke canister in hand, and he's going to take the swing.
No way!
He's going to take Packer off the board. That means the plan can start going down. A C4 to end Schmink off the board, and that's going to stop the diffuser. Aim key back in it. They're going to take JJ down. That's going to stop that's going to stop the Vector from being in play. Look towards that C4.
What?
Yo, Twins good for 2. 1 more to tie this up, Run. 1 more to potentially send us into overtime. Perfect for 2, and they found their first.
Twist.envy is the guy that pulls it off as well. Man, what a storyline for this guy, for this team. 1 round away from overtime. And they have to. They have to send this thing to overtime. Otherwise, Envy wins it, goes on to closed. 1 round away from either side. Man, my Miami Heat have, even if they don't win this, taking on a pro team and putting up this much of a fight has been an incredible series to watch.
We're going to be looking to see some of these other names from the side of Miami Heat to be featured on some of those get to know the players element videos, which, by the way, I loved. I loved the extra in-depth look at Mike W and what he brings to the table. Everybody making their name today, my friend. Packer going to stick the shotgun play. This time he's going to do it on Solus. So back into that intel side of things, the thing that we said in that last round could have been a little bit of a detriment since that's kind of been what they've been leaning into. They'll bring it back this time to Solus. That did miss the last time we saw this Solus play, right? They were able to get themselves a plant. They were a little too far away from the gadget to be spotted out when it started going down.
100%. Are they going to be in the right spot this time? Problem is, this is definitely a difficult site for the defense to hold, right? We're talking about first floor piano. There's a reason that this one is the tertiary site. Typically, that first floor and basement just better sites to hold on to. But because it's been attacker-sided, I mean, it's been a little bit of an Uno reverse day here. There's a good chance that this is one that the defense can hold on better. Thought we were going to see a missed drone there, but it's Rival that takes down that drone early. See an admin over upstairs. Again, investment to the vertical from both of these teams. Envy pretty well spread out. 3 of their players upstairs on the second floor for this first floor bomb site.
Rival showing why he deserves that .MV in his name as he sits the current frag leader. 13-5 definitely becomes part of that win con for the Heat. You got to get Rival off the board. They've started to put some pressure up onto the second floor, but no, just going to be sussed out. Rival yet again, 15. That is going to take 2 of them off. The spearhead gone, your hard breach gone, and this spells disaster for the Heat as now they find themselves in a 5v2 scenario. Couple of quick swings, but it's just proving to be too much. Both of the last players for Heat on that double-digit KD, and they've got Rival down to but a bullet, but Rival clicks heads. You can't rely on just one bullet to take him off the board because he's going to have a chance to shoot back, and that can spell disaster.
You still have got the 2 top frags on the board from Miami Heat. Both Schmink and Bless having incredible games, but they're going to have to be perfect here at the end of round 12 in order to send this thing to OT. Man, we are 1 minute away from the potential end of the Miami Heat run. Is it going to be Envy going to closed? Man, 2v4, no, 2v5. They're going to have a huge clutch.
Spread out a little bit. Service stairs, Rival being the source of action. Gonna hit that environmental ingredient, give it a little bit of a safer passage up, but no, sussed out. I'm gonna find it. Mike W to clean it up with a shotgun, and T1 will topple. Qual number 1 is Envy is going to take it. GG's in the all chat. A valiant attempt by Miami Heat, taking it all the way to map number 3, but in the end, T1 will do what T1 does, and that is clutch up when it matters. 7-5. Envy's heading on to closed.
What a series. What a game overall. All 3 maps required just so close to overtime. What a play, my friend. This has been an incredible weekend all the way through it. Honestly, we didn't get, I felt like enough teams wanted to shoot their shot to win an opportunity there for open qualifying to the 6 Invitational. But when it came down to it, all notable players, the T1, the top of T2 doing battle was exactly what we wanted to see here for this series. And man, it delivered. Envy. Big GGs to JJ and his team. Envy showed up when they needed to. And the Miami Heat, man, you guys are a force to be reckoned with. And when Open Qualifier number 2 starts in 2 weeks, we're looking to see you there.
That's right. Did you watch any of the stream today and think, you know what? I can do that. I can be that. That could be my team. Well, this is your chance. One more open qual on the road to the SI. Grab your team, get active, get registered, and then tag us on Twitter saying that you want to get your team cast, because we're going to try to bring all of the action for this next one for sure. Only one spot available in that one to try to put on the pressure against the greats here in NAL. Man, what a day of Siege run.
Yeah, that's right. Now, just to talk about it, coming up, the NAL Finals and the Element 6 Finals happening in person on LAN in Philly. At least one of us will be in Philly as well, so if you get a chance to come by and see us at the LAN, for sure, introduce yourself. I know you get the opportunity to see us. We would love to meet you in person, so looking forward to that as well. And big GGs to all the teams that have made it to the NAL Finals. And we're going to see who is left, who needs to win in the SI Open Qualifier number 2. We know for sure that LFO is going to be waiting for them in the bracket. It's not going to be Envy, though, as they win their spot here here first.
That's right. Yeah, potential T1 versus T2 for the next one as well, and kind of hoping for another matchup like that. So good, so good. Okay, well, we are here. We did it. Open qualifier day number 2 for qualifier number 1. Over and done. If you want to hang out with us, head over to our Discord. It's discord.gg/doubleshot. We're always hanging out in the public booths, playing ranked or any number of games. Whiskey Run is a Fortnite king, so you can find some Blitz Royale victories there with him as well. If you just want to get some R6 news or want some fun stuff or want to show us your highlights, tag your teams, head over on to X. I'm at glitter_whiskey. He is at racing ENGR, and together we are Siege Double Shot. Your face, your voice for Amateur Siege. We're done for tonight, but it doesn't have to be over. We're going to raid, go send some support to people that have supported the Double Shot. We love you all. But tonight, we've come to the dreaded part of the evening where we must bid you adieu. So as the lights start to dim and the jukebox starts to sing closing time, as always, my friends, you don't have to go home.
But you can't stay here.
Ayo!
Let's go.